And we welcome you to Charlotte, North Carolina, Ericsson Stadium. Just underway here in the first quarter. The Wolfpack on their first offensive drive after about a 52-yard return by Rashawn Spikes. Had the ball, 3rd and 2, and a costly personal foul. Put them at 3rd and long. They did not convert and had the punt, and now East Carolina takes over for their first offensive possession. They give to Harley. He is the workhorse for the Pirates up near the 20-yard line. Gain of 6. Take a look at the starting lineup. Dan Gonzalez starting his 4th game for the Pirates. A junior, 3 years he sat and watched and waited. In 3 games he has passed for over 900 yards. Mitchell Galloway, record-setting halfback for East Carolina. And up front, the big guys, a 300-pounder, Ron Sudduth at the right tackle along with Lamont Burns, the right side. They favor a lot in running. Gain of 6, 2nd and 4. This time they give inside again to Harley, and he will have the first down. Take a look at the Wolfpack defensively. Up front, George Williams, the only legitimate defensive lineman they have. 6'3", 295-pounder out of Roseboro, North Carolina. He's backed up by Morocco Brown, leading tackler, the junior from Hampton, Virginia. Also leads the teams in sacks. But in the secondary, 3 of the 4 starters are backups. They are led by co-captain Kenny Harris at strong safety. High formation for the Pirates. This time the pitch again to Harley. Big hole. Harley cuts it back and has nothing but green as he is being chased down. And Scott Harley will score. 75 yards. And just that quickly, the Pirates are on the board.
Oh, that didn't take long at all. Scott Harley got it revved up. Got a couple of nice blocks and showed you why. He's already run for over 1,000 yards. Gets good blocking, cuts this thing back all the way, going against the pursuit. Able to pick his way, gets a great block down the field from his wideout, and that brings him on his way to a long touchdown run. What a start.
Lamont Chappell, what a great block downfield on Marcel Huff, the cornerback. And Harley just cut it back and scampered 75 yards. And Mississippi State getting a big one in the Egg Bowl over Ole Miss, 17-zip. Those of you just joining us having watched that game, it is now 7-zip. East Carolina as the Pirates draw first blood here in the renewal of the rivalry at Ericsson Stadium. Here early in the first quarter, 7-0. You're looking at the largest single crowd ever to witness a college football game in the state of North Carolina. These two teams played for 18 consecutive years, and then the series was halted back in 1987. But 4 years ago, the passion for this rivalry was refueled by one of the best Peach Bowls ever. ECU quarterback Jeff Blake engineered a 4th quarter comeback for the ages. 20 points in the game's final 8 minutes to give the Pirates a lead. From the time NC State's last-second field goal attempt drifted right, the Wolfpack faithful have waited to retaliate. And it took a mandate from the state legislature in Raleigh to reschedule this series, the first of 4 games. And what a stadium, what a crowd. What a day for college football here in North Carolina.
Yeah, and think back to the last time they played in a regular season game was '87. It was such a hard-fought game that afterwards there was almost a near riot involving players and fans.
True freshman Bradley Rivers set to kick it off against Spikes and Whitted, and he will just pooch kick it. And they will call for the fair catch at about the 30-yard line. Hello, everyone. Glad to have you with us. Jerry Punch along with Rodney Gilmore. We talked about this rivalry. You know, folks, to put it in perspective, the Hatfields and McCoys had a gentleman's disagreement. This is a down and dirty feud.
Yeah, they really don't like each other. This is not hype. You know, you really have to look back to '87, you know, and think about that rivalry game back then. Really a hard time for these teams. They don't like each other. It's real bad. A nasty little rivalry that the country knows very little about, Doc.
All right, Wolfpack trying to get untracked offensively. A costly personal foul penalty. This time the pitch to Stevens, who will cut it back up over the 35-yard line. Take a look at the NC State offense. Jamie Barnett, redshirt freshman. He got his first start against Alabama, and boy, what a response. Nearly upset the Crimson Tide. 8 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Jimmy Grissett, ranked 6th on the all-time career reception marks at NC State. He's a senior co-captain, and up front, the only senior on the offensive line, the redshirt senior Tom Dombalis out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And a 6 makes it 2nd and 4, and again, Jermaine Stevens breaks a tackle in the backfield, would have been caught for a loss as Carlos Brown comes through. Take a look. East Carolina defensively, Travis Darden. Now, he's just a sophomore, but folks said, watch this young man. He plays so well. He can certainly dominate a football game. Carlos Brown, the weak side linebacker, is their leading tackler and leads the team in sacks. In the secondary, how about Hart to Hart? A pair of identical twins, Darren and David Hart, fifth-year seniors out of Winston-Salem. 3rd and a couple for the Wolfpack. Trailing by 7 here in the first quarter to give to the fullback. And it's going to be close.
Yeah, I'm not sure he got that one, Jerry. And what's going to happen is, if he's short, I think they're going to have to kick the ball here, 4th down and short. They're going to measure now, but they're backed up, and they can't really afford to take a chance and go for it in their own territory.
And they're signaling 1st down, so it looks like Carlos King. They needed a couple, and he was swarmed under by the East Carolina Pirate defense.
You bet Michael Cain liked that call. I mean, he got one from the officials there. Close enough. Good start, particularly after that first drive in which they had a 3rd and short in ECU territory and had a personal foul penalty that took them out of the drive.
1st and 10 for the Wolfpack, 2 wide receivers. And the sprint draw, Stevens, and he will get nothing. Let's check in back in the studio with Mike Adamle.
Well, Jerry and Rodney, it is over in Tallahassee. After Florida had scored to pull to within 3, they tried the onside kick, but it goes out of bounds. The Seminoles ran out of the clock and win it 24-21. Florida State is going to the Sugar Bowl, guys.
How about that? Well, congratulations to Bobby Bowden and his staff in Tallahassee. Rodney, I got to say, we can pat ourselves on the back. We picked, at the beginning of the year, we picked that one.
Yep, we had it right, and so did Mike Godfrey, you know. The guys at ESPN did that ESPN net zone choice, and it worked out pretty well for us.
2nd and 10. Barnett's first pass. He lobs it for Grissett, and it'll be over Grissett's head. That'll bring up a 3rd and 10 for NC State.
Gonna need a little defense. Speaking of defense, you know, Florida State, the one thing about them is they have great defense. When you have great defense, you're going to play well every week. And that's something that East Carolina has been doing the last couple years, playing pretty good defense. That man over there, Tabari Wallace, is a good reason. Good corner out there, has played well all season long.
East Carolina allowed just 190 yards total offense last week against a very good Memphis team, the same team that beat Tennessee. 3rd and 10, motion by the tight end, and Barnett will roll and has a receiver, and it was intercepted but out of bounds.
Well, he's trying to go to Whitted outside. Whitted slipped out of bounds there as he was trying to make his cut. Watch him to the right side of your screen. Number 80 will run the out pattern. He's going to lose his footing right there. It's been raining the last day or so, Jerry, but not a lot, but enough to make the field really slippery.
There was a tarp on the field, but they pulled it off early in the afternoon, and it has just been raining off and on throughout the day. About a 45-degree temperature, minimal wind, as the punt by Briggs is taken at the 21-yard line by Nichols, and that's where the Pirates will start. 9:22 remaining here in the first quarter. East Carolina 7, Wolfpack nothing.
ESPN2's presentation of college football is brought to you by Hager, stuff you can wear, and by Sega Saturn. Buy a Sega Saturn system between now and December 31st and get 3 free games.
Back at Ericsson Stadium early in the first quarter, about halfway through, and East Carolina's had one possession. Didn't take them very long, though. Scott Harley, a 75-yard, in fact, a career-long rush for the sophomore out of Neptune, New Jersey. And the Pirates are up 7-zip. Once again, they ride Harley. He's got a hole. He'll get about 4. Up across the 25, Morocco Brown, Wolfpack leading tackler there to make the stop.
Well, one of the reasons that they are riding Harley so much is because Marcus Crandell is not a quarterback for them. There you see him on the sideline, a great quarterback, one of the top quarterbacks in college football, has a bad knee, probably could play today, but will not because of the conditions, and they don't want to take any chances with him.
In the huddle this week was Crandall, able to run some of the 2-minute offense. Fifth-year senior. As Gonzalez now will pass outside, has a receiver up over the 35. And that is Mitchell Galloway, the record-setting receiver here at East Carolina. Let's check in with Mike Adamle.
Guys, you have a rivalry. How about the one between Georgia Tech and Georgia between the hedges? And what is it about the number 32 that makes players run like the wind? This is Nathan Perryman. He's a defensive back, not a running back, but he goes 71 yards for the touchdown, and Tech takes the early 7-0 lead. Guys?
Boy, a couple of tough weeks for Georgia Tech with those 2 big losses coming in a row to Maryland and Navy. Trying to get back on track, maybe slide into a bowl. They play their arch rival. Here's Gonzalez back to throw. The tight end, Richards. One-handed catch. Great catch by Scott Richards. And gains about 3. It'll bring up a 2nd and 7.
Richards is the leading receiver on this team. 42 grabs this season. You'll see him. He's to the left of the screen. He blocks a little bit. Watch, he's going to just flow on out there. One-handed grab. Sticks that big paw up there. Pulls that ball down. Gonzalez has got to make a little better throw.
Single setback. Basically, it's a one-back offense. For Steve Logan, and they will give it to that one-back, Harley, and he is smothered after a gain of maybe a yard and a half. And the Wolfpack much maligned as far as their defense.
Well, you know, if you can play good defense up front, you got something going. And when you don't play up front, very good defense, you're going to have trouble. Right here, you're going to see good pressure up there. Watch what happens to number 61, the guard for them, Ron Sutton. He gets blasted right away. Number 45, Clayton Simon, makes a great play, and that is good defensive line play.
Wolfpack 8th in the ACC in rushing defense and 89th in the nation. Gonzalez slips, back to pass. As a receiver, now will tuck it and run. He will have the first down, 50-45, and will step out of bounds at about the 43-yard line after scampering 13 yards. And he looks like a little bit like Marcus Crandall, the guy who's been understudying too for the past 3 years.
I think you're right. I mean, when you see Marcus Crandall take off like that, look, this is what you see. There's all that room out there. You're going to see that happen. He sees it open up. He steps up in the pocket. No one is covering over there. Now, I don't care if you're Marcus Crandall or Paul Gonzalez or Jerry Punch. You can run the ball on that one.
Well, I don't know about that one. I'd still be killing grass in the place the way I run. 1st and 10 for the Pirates, and they will give to Harley again. Morocco Brown was there to spin him around, and Brad Collins finished him off for the NC State. We told you that Harley had had a great year in rushing. By heavens, 1,396 yards, and currently sits 6th.
Yeah, that's not bad company. You know, Troy Davis at Iowa State, 198 a game. Harley up there at 140 a game just about. That's hard work, especially when you're in a one-back offense. You don't have a lead blocker.
6 carries for 92 yards already and a touchdown, and the ball is batted down. Brad Collins, who is 6'6", 270-pound defensive end, gets his big paws up in the air and slaps that one away.
Well, when you have a screen pass, you got to make sure the quarterback has a lane to throw the ball. Watch Gonzalez. Now he doesn't have a way to throw the ball. You see, he's just standing right there. Collins is right there, 6'6", arms up. Can't complete a screen pass like that. You got to cut that man out there so he can throw the ball.
One of the few times East Carolina has had a 3rd and long, as they have been able to grind it out on the ground. 8th play of this drive. Shotgun formation for Dan Gonzalez. And over the middle, he has a receiver. It's Galloway. 30, 25, 20, 15. And he is finally brought down. And they will say he stepped out of bounds at the 7-yard line.
Well, the problem is they had Galloway covered with the wrong kind of man. Galloway gets into the backfield. Watch him come on out. He's got a linebacker on him. That is a mismatch. When you can get the ball to Mitchell Galloway with a linebacker covering him, that is a problem. It's a great win for ECU. Give the credit to their coordinator for finding that matchup, creating it so that man right there, Mitchell Galloway, could make a big play.
Eric Riddick chasing him down, who had not practiced all week long due to a severe case of bronchitis. And it's 1st and goal for the Pirates, and Harley gets it, and he will be smothered in the backfield. maybe a loss of about a half a yard.
Yeah, Dwayne Everett, the outside linebacker, came over to make the play. And right now, North Carolina State down here has no choice but to really blitz their men inside to try to take away the running game for ECU. You see the rain is starting to come down there now, and that's going to affect the footing down here around the goal line.
Second and goal, Pirates will go I formation, and that is the tight end, Scott Richards, and he's at 270 pounds. He is the I fullback, but they will log and can't quite hang on. That is Troy Smith, a sophomore.
They were trying to go to Smith out there. This is a fade route. The receiver fades into the corner. Quarterback just has to get the ball up so that the receiver can run underneath it. Smith could not make the play that time. Again, the footing down there didn't allow him to get off the line of scrimmage as cleanly and quickly as he wanted to. He was covered on that play by Brian. I think it was Brian Marcel Huff. That's who was there.
11th play of the drive. Third and goal. Line of scrimmage, a 6-yard line. It's 7-zip Pirates. And across the middle, incomplete. As both Morocco Brown and Jason Perry, I should say, were on the coverage.
Well, it looked like they were trying to go to Richards over the middle, and that ball actually hit him in the hands, and he was in the end zone. If he hangs on to it, it's a touchdown. You see, he just turns that big body around, shows his target to the quarterback, Gonzalez. Gonzalez put the ball right on the money. Good defense stripping the ball out of there.
Chad Holcomb will come in for a 23-yard field goal attempt. For the last 5 games, he has missed the first field goal he's attempted in the football game. So he can break that string here. And the kick is up and good. So with less than 6 minutes remaining here in the first quarter, it has been all Pirates. East Carolina up 10-zip. Back at Ericsson Stadium, crowd approaching 70,000 have watched East Carolina dominate thus far in the first quarter, and that's their head man, Steve Logan, 43 years of age, 5th year as a head coach, 8th year at East Carolina. There's his record, and boy, what a giant killer they have been. This year, big wins over South Carolina. They dominated South Carolina at Williams-Brice Stadium, then went to Miami and beat the Hurricanes in a big way, 31-6 at the Orange Bowl.
Yeah, really one of the bright young minds in college football today.
Bradley Rivers tees it up, and Rashawn Spikes, a true freshman, who had the big return early, 30-35, slips down 40, still on his feet, and is finally brought down about the 44-yard line. 31-yard return for Rashawn Spikes.
I thought he was down at about the 33, but they aren't going to say that. I thought his knee touched. You'll watch him on a return and see where he goes.
Yeah, I like that. That's fine. That's a good drive. That's a good drive. Hey, I like it.
Mitch going to the field, or you just having them two options?
I know. I went ahead and shifted him to the field. Okay, look at here. Whichever side you put him on, it doesn't matter. He's got to take the flat route that side.
That's Logan talking to his quarterback. We do have him mic'd on the sidelines. Barnett has an over, almost picked off, going for Jimmy Grissett. And David Hart, the redshirt senior free safety, nearly picked that one off. And well, they could have turned the lights out early on this one if he picks it off and goes the distance.
Yeah, you're right. Take a look at the play. You'll see Hart just sitting there inside, double coverage on the outside receiver, but he didn't get his head around fast enough. He looked back at the quarterback just a wee bit too late and wasn't able to pick up the ball.
Barnett 0 for 4 thus far throwing the football. This time he'll give it to Tremaine Stevens, and he will get 4 yards. David Hart again on the stop. And the big miscue for the Wolfpack was that first drive, Rod. They get a 52-yard return by Rashawn Spikes. They're down about the 30-yard line of East Carolina, 3rd and 2, and they get a dead ball personal foul call on the fullback, Rod Brown, and that puts them back 15, and they have not recovered from that situation.
Michael Kane was livid about that. Now he's livid about this 3rd down situation. They need a 1st down.
Shotgun for Jamie Barnett, 3rd and 6 for the Wolfpack. Barnett will scramble, being chased, and throws it, has a receiver, Grissett, at the 36-yard line. Great catch by Jimmy Grissett, the senior co-captain out of Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yeah, great catch, but an even better play by Barnett. I mean, he showed you a little bit of Marcus Crandell himself. He's in a little bit of trouble. He's going to get pressured around, and then he's going to make his way out. Take a look at him right now. He's looking, where's my man? Well, he's right down here, and he's going to find him. And when he finds him, he's just going to go out there, jumps up, drops the ball over to him. What a great job, great vision by the quarterback, Barnett.
16-yard gain, and that is a redshirt freshman quarterback for the Wolfpack, and he will again give it to Steve, who has an opening 30, 25, and he will be ridden down finally inside the 25-yard line by Marvin Burke, the middle linebacker.
Yeah, great blocking on that left side by Alex Santos and Ian Rafferty. You see them coming out. Big O, number 70, getting on the linebacker right there. Good block. That's Ryan Knutson, number 70, with the block there. Stevens gets right in behind that lane, picks up another first down. North Carolina State has to have points out of this drive, Don.
And they are rushing the football against an East Carolina defense that ranks 39th in the nation, allowing less than 19 points a game. Motion by Woodard to give to Stevens, 25, 20, and close to a first down at the 19-yard line. Let's check in with Mike Adamle.
At the Carrier Dome, Miami bent on spoiling Syracuse's Alliance Bowl plans. The bootleg pass, Ryan Clement looking for and finding Magic Benton. 9-yard touchdown, Canes up by 7. Jerry and Rod, they have won the last 5 in this series.
Big games happening all over the country. We'll keep you abreast of all the updates and scores. Mike Adamle back in our studio. Second and a yard for the Wolfpack. Inside the 15-yard line to get to the fullback, and he is pasted at about the 12-yard line, but he will get 3 and the first down, most importantly.
I'll tell you one thing though. Ryan Knutson, number 70, is having a wreck of an early game. Right, number 70, bottom of your screen. Look at him come around. He's going to get a block right there. See that great big hole? Man, he is off to a great start. He's a young lineman, a redshirt freshman, playing very well right now for North Carolina State.
Ryan Knutson, 6'5", 279 pounds, out of Westchester, Ohio. 7th play of the drive for NC State. Trailing by 10 points to get to the fullback, and Brown just muscles his way down toward the 10-yard line, carrying Carlos Brown, the weak side linebacker, with him.
Yeah, and we were just talking about Knutson. Well, that time he got in the way. He was pulling, but he's going to get knocked down, going to fall right in front of the running back. You see that? So he couldn't get out of the way there because of all the debris in his way, and that really stopped the play.
Now, Knutson is a backup. Actually, NC State is so thin in the offensive line. They have 1 senior and 4 underclassmen starting, and their backups are 2 redshirt freshmen and 3 walk-ons.
That's not good.
2nd and 9 for the Pack. And Stevens will get the call, and he is stopped maybe a yard. And what a smothering East Carolina defense. That's the kind of defense they have played most of the year.
Well, they're very athletic, and B.J. Crane is one of the more athletic players on this team. And they moved him to the outside linebacker spot. They allow him to blitz a lot because he has great speed. And on that play, you saw him run down the running back from the left side of the field going to the right side. Great play.
B.J. Crane, a very emotional player. I have the good fortune of sitting in their locker room against Southern Miss, and now the Wolfpack will have to call a timeout because the 25-second clock was about to run down, and they will use a timeout. And if they take timeout on the field, we'll take it with them. 1:57 remains here in the first quarter. We'll be back. Back at Ericsson Stadium, Mike O'Kane really fired up, not real happy with what happened a moment ago, and during the timeout, he has gone out on the field and talked to the officials and asked for an explanation. Apparently, Rodney, the problem was the play clock, the 25-second play clock had been started, and the ball was not even put back on the ground in play.
Yeah, he has legitimate beef because he was forced to use a timeout, and the officials were telling him, well, you know, we keep the clock on the field here, too, and so that was not our fault. But he's saying, wait a minute, you got to be responsible and make sure that clock is right so I don't have to waste a timeout.
And I think what Randy Sims just told him was the clock that you guys are going into on the left end zone was not working, but we were using the one at the other end of the field. He says, how can my kids see that?
Right.
They look up and see there's 5 seconds and call timeout. But now he's trying to lobby for that to get that timeout back.
I think they ought to give it to him. I think he's got a really good argument.
He's got a legitimate beef, and now they've gone over to the sidelines and talked to the officials, and they're trying to decipher if they can get that clock.
You see him make the gesture with the hands, the timeout?
He said no timeout charged, right? The official shook his head yes.
Yeah. Well, he won that one. Yeah, make that man a lawyer. Make him a litigator.
No timeout. Charged in North Carolina. Reset the 25-second clock.
There is justice.
Got to give the Conference USA officials a call as now they go over and explain to Steve Logan what happened. He says, yeah, I understand.
And that's good officiating. I mean, they got together, they talked about it, they talked to the coaches, they heard the arguments, and it was all legit, and they changed their mind.
And Mike O'Kane's not the kind of guy that gets fired up a lot.
Right.
This one, I think he had a legitimate beef, and he won the battle. Now let's see if the Wolfpack can possibly punch it in. 9th play of a drive. 3rd and 9, trailing by 10 points here with 1:51 remaining in the first quarter. And a touchdown, Jimmy Grissett. They pump faked inside to Stevens on the crossing route, and a beautiful pass thrown to Grissett. What a nice loft by Jamie Barnett.
Yeah, nice toss, nice route by Grissett, but even better protection by the offensive line. East Carolina was coming with the blitz. They picked it up, North Carolina State did, and that allowed Barnett to find his man, Grissett, in the end zone for the touchdown.
What a great call by Ted Kane, the offensive coordinator, figuring East Carolina was going to come after him on a 3rd and long. And here's Mark Primanti. The kick is up and good as he gets his 22nd in a row conversion, and now the Wolfpack draws blood here in the first quarter.
And where the pressure's coming, look at the right side lower portion of the screen. That's where it's going to be coming from. You see them pick it up. They picked up the blitz, and that allowed Grissett enough time outside to make his move and get open. He just went right past the corner, who was totally asleep, and that was Kelvin Suggs out there, who looked like he thought he had help out there.
It looked like that he may have bitten on the pump fake to Tremaine Stevens on the inside.
Yeah.
Suggs takes a step, and of course when he took that one step, Grissett was behind him. There is Jimmy Grissett.
Yeah, if you ever take a pump fake on a quarterback, you have to knock down the receiver. I mean, you can't let him run past you after you've been faked out.
That drive for the Wolfpack, 9 plays, 56 yards, 3 minutes and 59 seconds.
Talk about Jimmy Grissett being the go-to guy for North Carolina State. You talked about their receivers being depleted by the injury to Torrey Holt. Well, he's been the man. He has 2 catches now, both on 3rd down. He's the big guy. 9 plays, 56 yards, and 3 minutes, 59 seconds.
Well, we got a good one here at Ericsson Stadium in Charlotte. It's 10-7 East Carolina. East Carolina scoring on both of their opening possessions. The Wolfpack coming back to put 7 on the board. And Chris Hensler will tee it up to Perez, Madison. Oh, what a kick by Hensler. He will bounce and go out of the end zone. Low line drive. NCAA basketball. Hampton University taking on Manhattan College. Last year, Hampton had the best record of any first-time Division I school. We'll see how much that means to the Jaspers. That's tomorrow at noon Eastern time. And, of course, then on Monday, Bobby Knight brings his Hoosiers upstate to South Bend as Indiana takes on Notre Dame. Indiana coming off that big win against the Blue Devils of Duke in the NIT Finals just last night. Again, the give to Harley inside, and he will just muscle his way for 5 yards.
That's a congratulatory call to Grissett for getting in the end zone. The senior man playing his last college football game. He's probably telling the coordinator up there, I can beat these guys all day long. Just throw me the ball.
Talking to wide receiver coach Jimmy Kaiser. There's Kaiser up in the box. He is the near to the right of your screen, just behind the post there. Quarterback and wide receiver coach for the Wolfpack. 2nd and 5 for East Carolina. Motion by Galloway. Gonzalez back to pass. Has Galloway at the 30, 35. And my heavens, a lot of yards up near the 44-yard line before finally Tony Scott rides him out.
Well, we knew two things coming into this ball game for East Carolina offensively. One, they would want to go deep to Shannon when they got the chance. But on most passing plays, they would go to Mitchell Galloway short and across the middle, and that's because of the man-to-man matchup, the mismatch he creates. North Carolina State really doesn't have anyone that matches up with him. Information processing major. He's not a big guy, 174 pounds.
All-time leading receiver in Pirate history, 124 receptions coming into this one. Once again, the give to Harley. Right side and left side, and he'll be up near the 50-yard line. And what a bruising running back. Finally, Dwan Everett runs him down at a gain of about 6.5.
Yeah, but you know something? You can gain 6.5 yards a carry or 6 on one carry if you get good line blocking. You're going to see right here, good pull. Lyman's going to get out there in front, create some avenues for him right there. Watch him pull out right in front route. That's number 60 for Lamont Burns, taking out 3 guys in front of him, creating a lane for Harley.
Nice block by Scott Richards, a tight end, also on Clayton Simon, the defensive end, to get Harley loose on the outside. And they will blow it dead. That's the end of the first quarter. And we've got a good one here at Ericsson Stadium as the Wolfpack and the Pirates have teed it up. It is 10-7 Pirates. We'll come back in just a moment. Back at Ericsson Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina, Rodney Gilmore and yours truly, Jerry Punch, bringing you East Carolina and North Carolina State. Renewal of a rivalry that they haven't played during the regular season since 1987. Gonzalez gives the ball to Harley, and he is finally pulled down, but not until he scampers for the first down. Morocco Brown there to make the stop.
That was the old counter tray play that has become so popular. A play that the Redskins popularized back in the early 80s, and one-back teams like East Carolina love to run and get those great big old linemen pulling out in front of a back like Harley. He's hard to see, hard to tackle. Averaging over 10 yards a carry today.
109 yards, and East Carolina is 7-0. 7-zip when Harley rushes for 100 yards or more. Back to pass and way overthrows the intended receiver. That would have been Jason Nichols.
But I think Gonzalez got fooled on that play. I think he was surprised to find man-to-man coverage. I think he thought he was going to get zoned, and all of a sudden he had people on top of him, and he hesitated just a little bit. You know, again, he's the backup quarterback stepping in for Marcus Crandell, and he hasn't had enough reps, enough time out there to see a lot of different things.
What a job he has done, though, throwing for 992 yards in 3 starts. This time they will give it inside to Galloway, and he is down near the 35, just a couple of yards shy of the first down.
You know, Galloway is not going to do that an awful lot. They usually put him in the backfield and send him out for a pass, but they want to confuse North Carolina State just a little bit by giving him the ball every now and then when he lines up in the backfield.
Mitchell Galloway, record-setting receiver at East Carolina, senior. What a career he has had down in Greenville. 3rd and a couple. East Carolina trying to sustain a drive. The Wolfpack needing to stop them and try to get the ball back. As Gonzalez has a receiver wide open inside the 30-yard line.
Yeah, Troy Smith got wide open that time, ran a quick out pattern. And again, you know, this North Carolina State secondary is really kind of suspect.
Well, you're talking about the fact that they have 3 of the 4 starters back there are missing. Kenny Harris, who's normally the free safety, was moved to strong safety this week. They are without Hassan Shamsuddin, the starting cornerback. They are without the starting other cornerback, Rodney Redd. And Eric Riddick, the starting free safety, has been ill all week. First and 10, and a reception. And that again is Galloway. Talk about decimated defenses, Rod. Here's what happened to the Wolfpack prior to the season beginning. They lost 7 starters after the spring.
Yeah, take a look at that. You know, Brian Books, Chris McNeil, Steve McKnight, all suspended, academically ineligible. Terrence Boykin. You know, what really hurts down at the bottom, Ron Melnick. He's out with an injured shoulder, hasn't played this year. He was their #2 leading tackler last season. His defense has really been rocked by injuries and other problems.
2nd and 4. East Carolina trying to sustain a drive. They give it again to Staley. Big hole for Harley, I should say, Scott Harley, and he is down inside, gain of 5. That should be enough for the first down. Let's check in once again back in the studio with Michael. Mike?
Well, Rod and Jerry, Syracuse on the verge of going down by 2 touchdowns. Miami gets a break here. Edgerrin James cuts off the football. There he is, number 32. It is picked up by Syracuse's number 9, Rod Gatson. He returns it 51 yards before being knocked out of bounds by Ryan Clement. Miami still leads by 7, but Syracuse now with a chance to tie.
Boy, Paul Pasqualoni loves turnovers, and he's got to love that one. Trying to move the momentum around up there in the Carrier Dome here at Ericsson Stadium. First down for the Pirates of East Carolina, and the ball thrown over the middle. That's a Larry Shannon. They couldn't hang on.
And Morocco Brown, again, was inside there. A great job that time. We talked about the secondary being somewhat young and inexperienced, but they've been aggressive. And they were really aggressive that time on the receiver. As he came back across inside, he wasn't able to make the play. Look, middle of your screen, you'll see the receiver coming across Shannon that time. He was really bumped around by the corner, and Morocco Brown was sitting inside to make the play.
Nickel back, Eric Riddick in for the Wolfpack. 2nd and 10, 11th play of a drive, and the fade being thrown in the end zone, and he will not come down with it.
And once again, Marcel Huff, the corner that side, coming up with a big play, the redshirt freshman. The guy makes a nice play. When you get a fade route as a corner, you need to look back when you see the receiver's eyes looking back. He catches up to the man. Now, he doesn't look back. He never looks back at all. I thought he looked at the last second. There's a chance that if you don't look back, you can be flagged for pass interference.
East Carolina, 3rd and 10. Gonzalez back, has a receiver over the middle, and will throw it in the end zone and overshoots a wide open Larry Shannon. Had to be a mix-up. Had Shannon and Galloway within about 3 yards of each other in the end zone.
Yeah, you know, Shannon is a big guy. I don't know how you can miss him. He's about 6'6", and he makes a post move into the middle of the field. Look how he gets past Huff right away. He's wide open. All you got to do is drop the ball in there. Gonzalez throws it too hard. He needed to float that ball in there.
That'll bring on Chad Holcomb, who already has a 23-yarder in the ball game. Trying to add 3 to the Pirates total. It'll be a 34-yard attempt. Kick is up. And good. And with that 34-yarder, Holcomb, the senior, puts the Pirates up by 6 points. 13-7. We'll be back.
ESPN2's presentation of college football is brought to you by DirecTV, satellite TV at its best, and by Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road.
Back at Ericsson Stadium, scoring drive for the Pirates of East Carolina. 13 plays, 63 yards, 3 minutes, 33 seconds. And a 34-yard field goal by Holcomb puts them up by 6.
North Carolina State has to be tickled to death that they've been able to turn away East Carolina when they've gotten into the red zone down inside the 20. You see 2 field goals, 1 touchdown in the 3 possessions. And since they didn't give up 3 touchdowns, North Carolina State is still in the ballgame.
When you consider how explosive this East Carolina offense has been all year long, it has to be somewhat of a moral victory holding them to 13 points thus far. Ball in the air with Sean Spikes. He's dangerous. Already had a 48-yarder and a 31-yarder, but he'll be smothered about the 25-yard line, as that's where the Wolfpack will start, deep in their own territory.
And speaking of the Wolfpack offense,
give me a little more time because I got to.
I'll have more time.
A little conversation here.
What did
Steve Logan talking to his quarterback and wide receiver.
Man free, didn't they, Doug?
It looked like
Scat pick takes H-Ops and then 2-man.
I got it for me at all.
Man free, regular man free.
Just man free.
Man free.
He's talking to Doug Martin. That's the offensive coordinator who's up in the booth talking about the NC State coverage on that last possession of East Carolina's. 3 wide receivers, single setback. Barnett, and the ball is tipped at the line of scrimmage. Let's check in once again back in the studio with Mike Adamle.
Jerry and Rod, to Athens, Georgia we go. Between the hedges, the Bulldogs trailing 7-3. Mike Bobo pitches to Odell Collins. He bangs in. Georgia back on top by 3. They have won the last 5 straight, guys.
Big one going on down in Athens, Georgia. Down between the hedges. And here in Charlotte, North Carolina, it's a 6-point game. East Carolina up by 6 over the Wolfpack. 2nd and 10 for NC State. Barnett will give it to the inside of the fullback. 30-31. Talking about a 4-yard gain for Rod Brown, the big 250-pound senior fullback from Lithonia, Georgia.
And he's a big back. He's been a big blocker for them most of the season, but every now and then he comes up with some big plays for them. People have wondered whether he's the best big fullback in the ACC, and he certainly has played well this season.
Talking to the NC State coaches, they knew that their defense had been decimated, and it was important for the offense to be able to keep the ball and to give the defense some time to rest. This 3rd down even more critical for a couple of reasons.
They're going to get pressure now.
Here they come. Barnett, the redshirt freshman, lets it go, and that is Jimmy Brissett, who couldn't quite get to it. That'll bring up a punting situation for the Wolfpack.
East Carolina loves to blitz on 3rd down. And Barnett figures it out. He gets a nice little block, throws off his back heel, couldn't hang in there quite long enough before Carlos Brown knocks him down. But he read the blitz right away. There you see Brown coming in, putting the pressure in once again. That's been a problem.
High spiral, fair catch being called for down about the 30-yard line by Jason Nichols. That's where the Pirates will take over. Sunday night NFL coming up on ESPN. This week, Drew Bledsoe is back on track for the Patriots and has New England in the thick of the playoff hunt. They'll face the always revved up Junior Seau at the San Diego Chargers Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, right after NFL prime time. That should be a good one.
Hey, does Drew Bledsoe have a cannon attached to his shoulder or what?
Well, I tell you, Mike and Joe and all the guys will be here to bring you that one coming up Sunday night. And guess who? He has met at the line of scrimmage and stood up there. One of the few times we have seen Scott Harley. He does fall forward for about a yard, yard and a half. Great effort by Kyle Blaylock. He's a backup defensive end, redshirt junior out of Jacksonville, North Carolina.
Yeah, we talked to Harley yesterday at the walkthrough practice they had. Yeah, he may only be about 5'10" or so, but he's a strong guy, over 200 pounds. And he told us that he looks up into the stands and talks to his father. He reads his lips to get information from him about how he's doing during the game. Gets advice.
He said he always loved Jim Brown. He looks like Jim Brown. He's dirty, got that shirt tail hanging out. 2nd and 7. Gonzalez rolling right. No, they get the ball inside to Harley, and he will get a couple. Dwan Everett is there, along with Jason Perry, free safety.
Well, yeah, it's bad enough when you have to worry about the tacklers on the other team. You have to worry about the official here. Watch the end of the run. There will be an official right there. He has to kind of slow up so he doesn't run over the official. Does a nice stiff arm to pick up a couple yards.
3rd and 6 for East Carolina. Line of scrimmage, their own 33-yard line. Motion by Nichols. He's just a flanker. Gonzalez rolls, has a receiver open downfield, and it is Galloway at the 45-yard line. Great call by Doug Martin, the East Carolina offensive coordinator.
Well, you know, you talk about great routes. You have to run them in combination. And a good quarterback will see things. Here's the coverage. You're going to have the inside man go out here, but you run everybody else flat, and that makes the linebackers and everybody come up. And if the quarterback sees it, he can drop the ball into the deeper receiver, and that's exactly what he does. He drops it right in behind the linebackers. Great combination route by East Carolina.
Galloway, 5 receptions, 95 yards. His 3rd catch on a 3rd down. And this, once again, Harley will stumble forward for 4 or 5 yards. Kyle Blaylock, one of the backups in to make the stop.
Oh, this is when it's really hard for North Carolina State. Right now, East Carolina is throwing the ball very well and even doing it on 1st down, and they're running the ball real well with Harley. What do you try and stop?
Well, I'm not sure what you can stop. We talked to the Wolfpack coaches yesterday. You look at Mike O'Kane, 42 years of age, his 4th year at NC State. And that's the guy you got to try to stop, Scott Harley. And you saw that list a little bit ago, and of the decimated defense. 7 starters they lost before the season began this year, and they've moved a lot of people around. Clayton Simon coming back off a redshirt year. There is Marcel Huff, who's not really the starter at cornerback.
But, you know, I don't believe that Steve Logan and ECU will feel sorry for North Carolina State.
Not one bit.
No, they're renegade pirates. They try to win ball games, and they try to win them as badly as they can because they want the nation to recognize their program as the good one that it is.
3rd and inches for East Carolina. You take a wild guess who'll get it this time. There is Harley, big hole right side. Sidesteps 1 tackle. One Everett there to make the stop. You know, it's interesting. East Carolina has had 1,000-yard rushers 4 of the last 5 years, but this year they had no one coming back, and Steve Logan told us all spring and all fall we worked on the running game. We had no one. We had no running back.
Yeah.
We knew this guy, this kid Harley, it's a sophomore. He might be okay.
Yeah, I think he's all right.
I think he's a keeper. No doubt about it. 7th play of the drive for East Carolina. And they fake to Harley and look and overthrow Lamont Chappell, the backup flanker.
Well, Tony Scott out there, number 27, did a good job on Chappell. Now, keep in mind that Tony Scott hasn't played a lot of cornerback. He's a safety, but because of the injuries, they moved him outside, and that time he got right up in Chappell's face, and he really got a good piece of him. He pushed him really hard, threw off the timing, incomplete pass.
Last year, Tony Scott was playing at Burns High School in the high school playoffs. He is a true freshman. He said he hadn't played much cornerback. He'd never played a down at cornerback, according to the coaches, before this game today.
Yeah, but he had 33 high school interceptions, so he knew what to do back there.
And East Carolina will take a timeout as Dan Gonzalez didn't like what he saw on the Wolfpack defense, so he'll call timeout and go over and have a chat with Steve Logan. It's 13-7 Pirates here in the 2nd quarter. Dan Gonzalez a moment ago went to the sidelines to talk to his head coach, and here's that conversation with Steve Logan.
What were you thinking, a fade right there?
No, well, I didn't have a flag. I was thinking about an out route, maybe.
Wait. Settle down. On the naked drag.
Yeah, he rolled up at the last second.
I know it. That's okay.
Behind him.
That's okay. Okay, now.
All right, that was a conversation, and they then began to discuss what they're going to run here as Doug Martin, the offensive coordinator upstairs, talking with Steve Logan on the headset.
And that's a mark of a good coach. He knows how to settle his quarterback down and makes him think about what he's doing out there.
And he asked the quarterback first, what were you thinking?
Exactly.
2nd and 10. East Carolina, motion by flanker. The flanker Nichols. And that's exactly as they drew it up. Nichols right over the middle, gaining about 5 or 6. Pretty good coverage there by Kenny Harris, a strong safety.
Knocked down by number 33,
But, you know, when you have a quarterback who will work with his coach and talk to him, understands what he wants, Gonzalez here sees that they've got the the linebacker coming inside. That allows Nichols inside to make the catch. Good job. Nice patience.
Nice play of the drive for the East Carolina Pirates. 3rd and 4. Gonzalez back to pass, and it's picked off right side, and 1 man to beat, and Tony Scott. It's Gonzalez that tags him out, and the true freshman from Lawndale, North Carolina. The USA Today North Carolina High School Player of the Year back in 1994. Picks one off, and without Gonzalez there, we're talking 6.
Yeah, you know, it's a great play by the corner, but a poor choice by the quarterback. Here he is. What you're going to see is Galloway is the guy who's open, but instead he's going to look to this man who's covered. Quarterback needs to go to the man who's open. He doesn't do it. Now look, right there, he's wide open, misses, goes to the outside man, wrong choice, picked off, brought back the other way.
And it's been East Carolina who has lived by virtue of the turnover this year. They are 2nd in the nation in turnover margin. Wolfpack gets an interception, and now Barnett runs the option and will keep it up inside the 45. 7-yard gain. Tavares Taylor there to make the stop.
You go back to that interception. A quarterback, when he throws that out route, you really have to put something on the ball. But the cornerback is playing in zone. He reads the quarterback all the way, makes a nice break on the ball. And again, when you throw that ball to the sideline, it can't be thrown to the inside, Jerry. It's got to be out away.
2nd and 3. Go on effort. If he'd have turned around and been able to get a nick on Gonzalez. Whoa. And Travis Darden gets a little jump. The question is, was he drawn off or did he just decide to get a free lick?
I don't know, but Barnett did some nice acting at the end there. That might help him out.
Dead ball. Offside. Defense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
You know, if I'm an official and I'm not sure whether the guy was drawn off or not, the fact that he hit the quarterback will make me call it on the defensive guy.
Yeah, if you jump and then sidestep the quarterback, you may be able to say, hey.
Yeah, I was pulled off.
But if you unload on him, that'll cost you 5. That gives the Wolfpack a first down. That is the very first penalty against East Carolina, a very disciplined football team. As the Wolfpack gets 1st and 10 inside the East Carolina 40. Give to Tremaine Stevens, and he jumps and is met head-on by Carlos Brown. A vicious tackle by Brown, the senior out of Elizabeth City, North Carolina.
Well, you've been around here all week. This rivalry has been fairly intense, hasn't it? You take a look at the play here. Nice penetration up front by Travis Darden, 95, and that really allowed Brown to come in and make the play. But again, Jerry, the rivalry has been intense.
It is it's unbelievable in North Carolina how much the fans, I mean, the coaches and players feel it, but the fans really on each side want their teams to win. Oh, and the get to the fullback, and he will get nowhere. It is Mr. Darden, Travis Darden.
Yeah.
He says, Coach, I'm going to make up for that 5 yards I cost us a moment ago.
I guess so. Now, this man wants to be an FBI agent when he's done. Well, he was a secret agent right there. He spied on that play, and he found the running back with a big hit. 3.5 sacks on the season, 32 tackles. He's in the middle of the screen. Just watch him. You're not going to have any problem finding him. Nobody blocks him. Comes through, big hit, and creates a 3rd down and 10.
They said this young man will be a great one before he leaves Greenville. 3rd and 10, shotgun formation for Jamie Barnett. Barnett has a receiver, steps up, and will hit Grissett down inside the 25-yard line. And that's the senior's specialty, finding an opening in the secondary.
Well, you wonder how Grissett could be that wide open, even in zone defense. He is the guy that they go to. He's the inside receiver. He's going against the zone. He's going to work his way to the outside. The cornerback on the outside is run off, and Grissett just sits down for a nice pickup. He is the man.
He is the man. There is Jimmy Grissett, 5'11", 189 pounds, playing with a bit of a hip pointer. 16-yard gain. Talk about being the go-to guy. All 3 of his receptions have been on 3rd down situations. And following a turnover, the Wolfpack trying to punch it in, and boy, Tremaine Stevens gets nowhere. And Carlos Brown is living in the NC State backfield.
Well, you see why he's the #1 tackler on that defense. They are so active, they get him involved in everything near the line of scrimmage. He's allowed to attack the line of scrimmage. Again, he's in the middle of your screen. He's going to come flying up in a hurry. There you see a little bit of action. There he comes right now.
Well, they have watched the film at North Carolina State and realized that the lead draw and the option midline trap, which Tremaine Stevens is some of their bread and butter plays, and Carlos Brown knew it. 2nd and 11 after the loss of a yard. Barnett has a receiver in the end zone, and now that is a redshirt freshman mistake right there. He had Grissett had beaten his man in the end zone, and he throws in the double cover.
Yeah, he didn't see the man that he wanted, but at least he threw the ball away. Didn't allow anybody else to get it. Had he looked for Grissett, he would have found him in the end zone, just as you mentioned, probably for a touchdown. But instead, he goes to the outside. Now, Grissett is the go-to guy. Whenever they get a chance to go to him, they do.
Well, speaking of going to him, it's 3rd down. 7th play of this drive following the interception by Tony Scott. 3rd and 11. I formation for the Wolfpack. Barnett scrambles and throws it toward the end zone. It'll be a jump ball. Oh, almost intercepted. Great defensive play by Tabari Wallace, the junior from Newberg.
Yeah, and that's all it was. A great play by Wallace. I mean, Barnett does a great job to stay alive with pressure coming. Watch him here. He's going to get pressure. He gets pushed out to his right side, and he knows he's got Grissett one-on-one in the end zone. Wallace, however, is in great position, and this is just like waiting for a rebound in basketball. He gets inside position, contact with the man, goes up and knocks it down. See how he positioned himself inside there, Doc? I mean, it's just like getting under the boards, fighting for that rebound. Get that guy on your hip, keep him away from the ball.
That'll bring on Mark Tremonti, the redshirt senior from Thorndale, Pennsylvania, for a 39-yard attempt. He is 17 for 17. Has hit 24 consecutive field goals going back to November of 1995. The kick is up. And it is good for the Wolfpack. Gets on the board, and Mark Tremonti is still perfect, making 18 for 18 in 1996. The Wolfpack gets 3, and now down by 3. Back at Ericsson Stadium, 4 minutes and 50 seconds. That's all remains here in the first half. NC State, Mike O'Kane's got to be awfully pleased. His Wolfpack, 8 plays, 28 yards, 3 minutes and 19 seconds, a 39-yard Mark Tremonti field goal. 25 in a row for the young man, redshirt senior, who may just get the Lou Groza Award next week when it's handed out.
Yeah, he is a legitimate candidate, one of the finalists there, and certainly as deserving as anyone.
We've got a good one here at Ericsson Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina. Rodney Gilmore and Jerry Punch bringing it to you. On paper, this game looked like a huge mismatch.
Yeah, but that man, Steve Logan, knew better. He wasn't fooled by the 3-7 record of North Carolina State. He knew this would be a dogfight.
A lot of speculation circulating around Steve Logan, his name being mentioned around the country, and rightfully so. A lot of people wearing purple would like to see him stay put in Greenville, North Carolina.
Yeah, but there are a lot of coaching vacancies, a couple of jobs open in the Big Ten, and you have to believe that anyone who is looking around would think about him. There are some of the notables: Minnesota, Maryland, Alabama. The Illinois job is a good job, and obviously Kentucky is still open in Pittsburgh, but you never know. But anybody would probably be really lucky to land that man, Steve Logan.
Very innovative. Of course, he's got a great job in Greenville, North Carolina. What a job he has done with this East Carolina football team. Chris Hensler set to tee it up. More of a sky kick. Taken on about the 18-yard line, but Perez Madison, he'll be ridden down about the 25. Well, have you had a chance to check out ESPN News yet? It's the first network devoted entirely to sports news, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Up-to-the-minute reports, comprehensive analysis, and breaking stories as only ESPN can bring you. Call your local cable operator or satellite provider to make sure you get hooked up with ESPN News.
I bet there's some good stories over there right now in that Florida State victory.
Oh, that'll be huge. Carolina. Gonzalez has it to the receiver over the 30-35. And that's Lamont Chappell as he was ridden out of bounds near the 40 for the first down. Let's check in with Mike Adamle.
Well, guys, how many times have we all said football is a game of matchups? Well, Miami's got a mismatch here. 6'3", Teal Green over 5'9", David Bird, an 18-yard touchdown pass that gives the Canes a 14-3 lead.
Wow. Whoa.
Well, they got one going on in the Carrier Dome, don't they?
Yeah, Syracuse was cruising until today, huh?
First and 10, the Pirates. 4 minutes, 38 seconds remaining here in the first half. 3-point game. As Harley gets the opening. That's how he started the game with a 75-yard scamper. Will they catch him? And no. Scott Harley will go all the way. And East Carolina just that quickly retaliates for 6.
Well, whatever his dad said to him is right. It's working. And his dad was a running back in high school up there in New Jersey. And he says when he comes off the field, he always looks to his dad to see if he has any advice. I think whatever he told him here was right. Follow your blocking, cut to the outside, and then turn on the jets. Right now, nobody is fast enough to catch this man as he opens it up on the sideline. Again, another long run for a touchdown. The first one, 75 yards. This time, 60 yards.
And the extra point is no good. It was a low kick by Chad Holcomb. My, I think I could have run 60 yards through that hole with Ron Sutton and Lamont Burns open on the right side of the Wolfpack defense. And Harley says, I got to have a seat. East Carolina adds 6 in a hurry. And now up 19-10 over the Wolfpack. And you see Mike O'Kane He cannot be happy about that. They've gotten the turnover, came down, picked up 3 points, and pulled to within 3. And just that quickly, the defense gives it back.
Yeah, well, you know, it doesn't take long when you have a running back like that. Scott Harley has done the job today. 194 yards on the ground. North Carolina State, only 58.
Remember, Harley on the very first possession for East Carolina got a career long, ran 75 yards for a touchdown. And, of course, this one, take a look at it once again. This is the first quarter. He cuts it back against the grain.
Yeah, when he made that cutback, he got out there, got good blocking by his receivers downfield, 75 yards, which gave him the 7-0 lead. And then on this play, well, he just takes off once again. Good blocking at the point of attack, finds his way to the sideline. 135 yards on 2 carries for touchdowns.
And we told you these Pirates were explosive, and they're on a mission today. They want to impress some bowl scouts who may have an opening, depending upon what happens with some of the conference commitments around the country.
Yeah, there's still a couple of open. You know, the Copper Bowl still has a possibility considering the Big 12's problems, and then there's the Independence Bowl that is still open as of now.
High kick. LaShawn Spots will take it 15-yard line. He broke a couple early, 40 up to the 40-yard line. 25-yard return by the true freshman from Connecticut. NHL Tonight, coming up with your host, Bill Pito. Scores, highlights, news, and analysis come your way later tonight and all week long, Tuesdays through Saturdays, only on ESPN. It's Sports Center for the compulsive hockey fan, so check it out. That's NHL Tonight. Well, we're going to be able to play hockey here today, the way the temperature was dropping last night.
Oh, man, was it cold.
They set some records here in the eastern part of North Carolina for low temperatures. Barnett has a receiver, and Albus Whitted keeps his feet inbound, makes the catch up at midfield.
Well, you know, that's setting up Whitted for something else. I mean, that man is fast. He was in the Olympics trials out here in Atlanta. Ran against Michael Johnson and Carl Lewis, finished 6th. He's a guy that can fly, had a 20.29 200-meter run.
You know, one time last year, Albus Whitted held the record for the 100 meters. He held it only shortly, but he is a legitimate sprinter.
I think he'll wind up playing for the Oakland Raiders. Al Davis loves that speed.
By reputation, you got to believe he's going to get a shot somewhere. Barnett, the quick look this time, wide receiver. That is Chris Coleman, the backup flanker. He's the redshirt freshman out of Shelby, North Carolina.
Well, the quarterback was laying so far off. I mean, that was an automatic. Barnett simply had to raise up and throw the ball out there. Good job by Barnett of recognizing that. But the defensive backs have to be a little bit closer. Talk about the NC State receivers. You know, they've done a good job, but Jimmy Grissett is clearly the man for them. 46 receptions on the year, but the other 3 guys have combined for only 41. Who's the man? Grissett.
First and 10 for the Wolfpack. Here comes pressure. Barnett steps up and just lets it go. Downfield. Oh, great coverage by Tabari Wallace. And the man you just talked about, Rod, Jimmy Grissett, was open. But with the pressure, you got to believe Barnett just barely got it off.
Yeah, well, you know, Barnett told us yesterday that sometimes he misgauges the speed for Grissett. Right now, you'll see he's going to step up. See, he's got his man wide open right there. He's got the inside track. That ball is not where it needs to be. It hangs for a while, and since it hangs up there, Tabari Wallace can come over and knock it down.
With the linebackers coming, they were in man coverage back there, and a great job by Wallace to slap that one away. 2nd and 10 for the Wolfpack. Once again, they fake the running play and a receiver. Oh, nice catch again by Chris Coleman.
I tell you one thing, Barnett threw that ball on a frozen rope. And he doesn't look like he's got a big, strong arm at about 6 feet, 200 pounds. And he looks like Marcus Crandall a little bit. You know, he gets back there and fires that thing. There wasn't a lot of room. Chris Coleman made a nice grab.
You know, you got to mention Ted Kane, the offensive coordinator for NC State. What a job he has done mixing up the plays and giving the young quarterback a chance to make completions.
Yeah, Jose Laureano was the starter, and he had to give way to this man who's taking advantage of the opportunity.
And NC State's right guard, that is Lonnie Gilbert. He's a second-team All-Atlantic Coast Conference, and he decides to leave about a count early. That'll cost him 5.
Yeah, He'll straighten that one out. But, you know, again, getting back to Barnett, he got the chance to play. Let's hear the call.
Dead ball. False start on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat. First down.
Barnett got the chance to play after Laureano was somewhat flaky about his football responsibilities.
Yeah, he didn't really go to study hall and had some class situations, and that's something that Mike O'Kane believes in, is discipline. You got to go. There's Jose Laureano, great quarterback, and he has matured a lot, though, this year. And give the ball to Tremaine Stevens, looking for an opening. Dodges one tackle. Travis Darden almost had him in the backfield. Finally, Marvin Burke wraps him up. Gains maybe a couple.
Well, Marvin Burke is a guy you want to stay away from. He is excellent against the run. A lot of people pay attention to Carlos Brown, but Burke is the man who can step up, take on a guard, push him out of the way, and make the tackle. And you see the young man from Jacksonville, Florida, wants to be a school teacher one day.
Elementary education. Elementary, Mr. Watson. 2nd and 13 for the Pack. Here they come again. And Barnett looking for Grissett, who slipped when he turned.
Yeah.
Both Grissett and the coverage guy, Jabari Wallace, slipping to make a turn to the outside. Let's check in with Mike Adamle.
Well, Jerry and Rod, you think they might be getting excited in Blacksburg, Virginia? Miami, another touchdown pass by Ryan Clement, this time to Tony Gator. Watch this cutback. The Canes now up 21-3, and remember, if Miami wins, Virginia Tech gets the Big East Alliance Bowl berth.
Gotta believe Frank Beamer's up there handing out pizza to his players.
Yeah, Christmas coming early for those guys, huh?
Guarantee you that one's not over yet. You can't count the big orange out. 3rd and 13. The Wolfpack trying to sustain a drive. Barnett looking downfield, throws the ball to his fullback who can't hang on. Wide open was Carlos King. He would have had the first down. And that sort of sums up the kind of year NC State has had on offense.
Yeah, Barnett really did a nice job forcing them to come up for him. He's got to make his way outside to the right side, and he's got to force the linebacker to come up with the threat of running. Right there, you see, he just comes out there, and that forces the linebacker to come up, and King just drops the ball. He got excited. There he is again, right there. Ball right in his hand, starts to turn up the field before putting the ball away.
Now, in all fairness, it has been misting off and on and raining, and now that's going to force Mike O'Kane into making a very, very difficult decision.
Yeah, I think this might be a little bit out of his kicker's range here for a field goal. The ball is at about the 33. Probably be about a 50-yard field goal attempt. I don't think his kicker Permani has the range for that one, and plus the field is somewhat wet. I think you either got to punt it or go for it here.
Yeah, we talked to Mike O'Kane yesterday. He said that Permani has made a 48-yarder, and that was his career low against Alabama earlier this year, but he said maybe 50 would be the max.
Yeah,
and it would be exactly 50 from here.
Yeah, but the conditions aren't good enough for him to try a 50-yarder here today. You know, it's soggy on the field out there. And there's really just, you know, the mistiness in the air. I think the ball would be too heavy to try a 50-yarder here. They'd have the danger of having that thing blocked. You look at that field, you wonder how the Carolina Panthers are going to feel when they play the Buccaneers tomorrow on this field.
Yeah, they have been a great job with the grounds crew, and you couldn't ask for a better stadium. But that young man right there says, hey, Coach, I'm ready. You put me in. He's got a streak on the line, but he's not thinking about streaks. He's thinking about winning a football game. And Mike O'Kane has made the call. They will go for it on 4th and 13.
You know, you could question whether you should punt it here instead of going for it, given how quickly East Carolina can strike with the ball. Maybe punt it, pin him down, see if you can get the ball back.
High formation. Going to try to keep some backs in for protection. Knows East Carolina is going to come. Barnett is back there looking downfield. Lost it to Grissett. Whoa! And he is in the air and couldn't quite get his hands on it. Jimmy Grissett wanting a flag. Looks like pretty good coverage by East Carolina.
Yeah, David Hart was back there, number 21. Seemed to do a real good job of timing his leap for the ball. Grissett had inside position, but once again, Hart comes up with a nice play. There you see Hart coming over on the inside, and then number 37, Foster, on top. Double coverage. Grissett has a shot at the ball right there, and he doesn't come up with it. Looked like Foster nicked his hand just a little bit at the end there.
Replay may have shown Foster's left hand on the edge of Grissett, but they were both diving for the football. They'll turn it over to the Pirates. Less than 3 minutes to play in the first half. Gonzalez fakes, pumps once, will tuck it and run, and wide open field, 45-40. He has run out of bounds, and now, folks, this is a very intense rivalry, and this could get ugly.
Yeah, and that's the wrong place to talk stuff to the other team. I mean, your teammates are way on the other side, and you're over there in the East Carolina bench area, and you don't want to be seen as a guy who's not real tough, but you want to be smart, too. I think Tony Scott was over there in the midst of about 40 players.
And that really is uncalled for. When you get a quarterback out of bounds, you let him go. And I believe Randy Sims is going to tell us it's going to cost him some yards.
Dead ball. Personal foul on the defense. 15-yard penalty. Yeah, automatic first down.
Well, and I think that they got talked into that a little bit, too, by the reaction on the bench over there. Now, he made the initial contact in bounds, and that's okay. But watch the end of the play. He keeps driving. He keeps going, and he's out of bounds. Now, maybe his momentum, caused him to keep going a little bit there. But, let go of the guy now. But he keeps going there, and then he takes a shot by one of the East Carolina players over there. I don't know if they flagged it on him for what happened initially or what happened afterwards.
There's Jason Perry coming in trying to pull him out. An unfortunate mistake by a true freshman, Tony Scott. Now, he picked off one earlier, but boy, that cost him big time there. And timeout on the field while they talk it over. We'll take timeout with them. Our score, East Carolina 19, Wolfpack 10. Back at Ericsson Stadium, there's the young man, Tony Scott. Let's take a look once again at what happened just a moment ago when he was trying to make the tackle out of bounds.
Well, the more I look at it, the more I think maybe he was pulling off of this thing. His head is down. He doesn't wrap him up with his arms. He doesn't try and drive the quarterback into the ground. And that's why I said earlier, I thought the officials got talked into that a little bit by the reaction on the sideline over there.
Yeah, I think we might have been a little bit too harsh on Tony, but he still hit him and pushed him out of bounds. And then again, momentum. Well, the only two we'll know will be him and Gonzalez. First and 10 for the Pirates. Pumps, fakes, and just out of the hands. Had it and didn't have it. And that was Galloway.
Well, for North Carolina State, it is very important for them to keep East Carolina out of the end zone. They need to make sure that they hold them to a field goal attempt and that they don't give up the big play right now. That's all Michael Caine wants to happen now. He doesn't want the touchdown pass.
Second and 10. NC State sends in Eric Riddick, who's the nickel back, and they bring off Lakeith Patterson. Three wide receivers, shotgun formation. Dan Gonzalez. And has just overshoots or throws it behind Lamont Chappell, the intended receiver.
Yeah, and he's lucky that that ball was not picked off. Morocco Brown was right there, had a shot at it, almost came up with it. Gonzalez has to be a little bit more careful with the ball down here. There you see him right there. You see Chappell, number 87, was moving to the outside. Ball came inside, and Brown didn't come up with it.
Although it's third and 10, remember, they got Mr. Harley in the backfield. And, man, is he being a force to not run the football. Motion by Chappell. And they will throw it to Harley this time. 30-25, and he will stay in bounds and keep the clock running, but it'll be short of the first down.
Well, Doc, you were all over that one. I mean, they had Harley in the backfield and were planning to get him outside and drop the ball to him to see if he could pick up the first down. There you see him. He's just going to scoot on out to the left, and now it's going to be up to him. One-on-one, can he make a guy miss, and can he get the first down? Nope, he can't. A great tackle right there that time by number 40, Riddick.
And how about the hustle by George Williams, the defensive tackle? As you saw the tackle there made by number 40. But Williams...
Kid Carpenter. I'm sorry, I called him Riddick. Kid Carpenter.
George Williams, a 300-pounder, ran from the opposite side of the field. And here they played almost a half, and he still hustled out on the football field. So the coaches have got to admire that. Steve Logan a little bit concerned about the fact that his offense is stalled down here.
Well, if he has a play or two he'd like to use that he thinks will work. It's time to use it now because you've got a 4th down. And again, they are in that area of the field, that tweener where you don't know whether you can kick the field goal or if you can really go for it here. They're going to try the field goal. It's going to be about a 42, 43-yarder. And again, it's in the middle of the field where it's a little bit soggy.
Oh, they call him the Riverboat Gambler, talking about Steve Logan. And, folks, he has faked them with seconds to play and the Liberty Bowl bid on the line. So anything can happen, even though Chad Holcomb is on the field. Ed Crabtree there, the hold. And Steve Logan. And I think the NC State defense knows that to keep their eyes open. 41-yard attempt. And the kick is up. And it is right down the middle. So East Carolina will pick up 3 more from 41 yards away. Virtue of senior Smyrna, Georgia kicker Chad Holcomb.
Steve Logan is known for being a pirate. He says, hey, that's the life of the pirate. You go in, you take things, you take chances. He says that's the way they live and die by football here with East Carolina. You know, one of the interesting things he told us was that in addition to the coaches he's worked with, he learned his offense from watching the Bill Walsh 49ers in the Super Bowls in the early 80s, and that made such an impression on him, he brought it to East Carolina.
Huge disciple of Bill Walsh is Steve Logan. Let's check in back with Mike Adamle. Michael?
All right, Jerry and Rod, coming up at halftime, highlights from this last Saturday in November, college football, including Judgment Day in Tallahassee. The Seminoles are going to the Sugar Bowl, and our game day trio of Chris, Kirk, and Coach will have the complete post-game report. All that and more coming up at the halftime. Guys?
You know, this morning, Kirk said he picked Florida State. Corso went with Florida.
So what's unusual about that?
I don't know. I just hope that Kirk had dinner riding on it.
Oh, I tell you, you know, I'll bet you let Chase lead to get it, though. I'll do a great job. What a great win for Florida State, Bobby Bowden. And what a comeback. Heck of an effort after being down by 17 points. Steve Spurrier's bunch of Gators out of Gainesville, Florida. Rivers sky kick. And the fullback takes it. That is Carlos King. And remember, Carlos dropped that sure first down pass, maybe trying to make up for it a little bit. And moments ago, this conversation took place between Steve Logan and his quarterback.
85 wide angle drag. What did you look at? Tell me what you looked at.
To see if the guy was coming off the end for the out route.
Okay.
I didn't get any pressure.
Okay.
And then I looked downfield, and everybody contracted with the wide route. I had to slide outside.
Oh, that's right. What they did, they bracketed the shake route. The get open route was open, too. I don't think you ever got your eyes there, did you? Okay.
A rare opportunity to see a coach in action coaching during the ball game.
Always teaching. Barnett tucks it. This time, almost throws it right in. He does put it in the hands of Marvin Burke, and Burke was so surprised, but he couldn't hang on.
Well, we told you that Burke is absolutely fantastic against the run. The downside of that is that he doesn't catch the ball real well. Had he caught that one, his team would have been in business. His ball is right to him. He's got his paws right there. Oops, hit me in a bad place.
Take a look at the turnover margins. That's, my goodness, plus 12 to minus 9 this season. Huge difference. East Carolina, Paul Jeff, the defensive coordinator, preaches turnover. You get 4 games, he said we'll win the football game. Barnett getting some pressure. This time we'll tuck it and run. 45-46, and up near midfield, steps out right at the midfield stripe, and that should be enough for the first down.
Well, you know, you made a comment the other day about Barnett looking like a young Marcus Crandall, and I think you're right. I mean, he has that presence in the pocket. He hardly ever gets sacked. He has that great ability to find his way to the outside, yet keep his eyes downfield looking for a receiver.
There's Marcus Crandall, the young man. What a great career he's had at East Carolina. There's Jamie Barnett. That shirt freshman. You'll be hearing his name for a lot of years. Was indeed a first down. Pressure coming from the Pirates. They throw it. A little high. Alvis Whitted tried to go up, and he gets tattooed back there by David Hart.
Yeah, Barnett really was hanging in there that time as he had pressure coming. And that's what you're going to get with East Carolina. You see the linebackers up the middle and then pressure from the outside. Hart comes in, makes another hit. He's their big play guy out of the secondary. They call him Dizzy because he's hit people so hard this year, he's knocked himself out a couple times.
Indeed, knocked himself out. Got a couple of concussions this year. Third quarter against Arkansas State, his latest. That'll bring up a 2nd and 10. Barnett just 6 for 20 throwing the football. Has missed his last 5. This time he'll hand it off to Stevens. Has an opening left side. 45, 40. And he will have the first down.
Yeah, now the clock will stop. They're in territory. The clock will stop long enough for them to reset play at the line of scrimmage. North Carolina State needs to try and come away with points here. They have a couple timeouts left. They just have to hurry, but don't rush. Keep your composure.
They will go shotgun, 1 minute and 3 seconds. 1 timeout remaining for each team. Line of scrimmage, the 40-yard line. Barnett looks for the slant pattern, aggressive. He will have it for the gain of about 7. And that will keep the clock running. We're under 50 seconds to play.
Well, you know, they have an opportunity to go ahead and run a play. They're getting close to field goal range. They've got the 1 timeout. I'd save it until later. Go ahead and run your plays now.
Ed Kane has him in the 2-minute offense. Barnett looks downfield. The receiver fell down. He was cocking to go downfield to number 80, Alvis Whitted, and Whitted turned and just slipped down as the ball was tapped.
Yeah, he saw that happen. He saw Whitted fall down, and then he held the ball back. And that's a good job because had he thrown that ball, it would have been picked off. Take a look there. There's Whitted slipping down. Now, had Barnett thrown that ball, it would have been picked off. And you see the defensive backs asking for it. Watch him right here. Ball got knocked down. He did throw it. I thought he kind of held it back, but he did throw it, and it was knocked down at the line of scrimmage.
3rd and 3. A long 3 for the Wolfpack. Barnett scrambling, and he will be sacked back at the 45-yard line. Great effort by Lorenzo West, the senior from Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah, and that is a freshman mistake, a redshirt freshman mistake. You can't allow yourself to get knocked out of field goal range. Now they have no chance of kicking a field goal. Hey, you're in the backfield, throw the ball away, and you still have a shot, but don't take the loss. And that's what Michael Cain is upset about. You get a freshman quarterback, redshirt freshman. He's got an ability to escape people. This time he believes in it just a wee bit too much. He wanted to make something happen, and it cost his team a chance at 3 points here. And right now, there's nothing there. Get rid of the ball.
There's a young man out of tiny Person County High School in Roxborough, North Carolina.
You know, one thing Michael Cain told us about Barnett, he said, you know, even though this has been a 3-7 season, thinking about Barnett brings a smile to my face. He's been a bright spot, seeing the way he has developed from a quarterback in high school that ran the run and shoot 1 year and didn't have good mechanics to be the guy who can lead his team now and play very well against Alabama in his first start.
Almost upset the Crimson Tide. Had a receiver wide open downfield, overthrew him and allowed the interception against Alabama as they were moving in for a score. What a great first start for the young man. Michael Cain decides to kick it away. Jason Biggs, redshirt junior, back to kick. No one deep for East Carolina. They were going to bring all the pressure. And a flag. Oh, this could be a costly mistake by East Carolina as the kicker goes down.
Well, Roderick Coleman sort of got caught in between. He couldn't decide to whether to go after the kick or hold up. And so what it did was he was kind of in between, ended up running into the kicker. They call it a personal foul. It's going to be a 15-yarder, and now North Carolina State is back in business.
Well, just 5 seconds remain here in the first half.
Now watch bottom of your screen, left side. Here comes Coleman, number 57, kind of hesitated, and then he runs into the kicker. And now you have a shot if you're North Carolina State to try a field goal. What a big penalty.
What a huge penalty. And I tell you what, Steve Logan is not going to be a happy camper in the locker room at halftime. He does not like mental mistakes. No coach likes mental mistakes, but he brings his defense over to talk to him.
But, you know, you forget this is not professional football. It's college. You have kids out there, and from time to time, things like that will happen. And that's one of the unfortunate things when you look around college football and you see all the coaching changes. They have their futures determined by 18, 19, 20-year-olds who sometimes make mistakes like that.
I mean, I heard a coach talking about going in and speaking to alumni last week. Said he asked them, how many of you in this room have teenage sons? And a bunch of them raised their hands. And how would you like your future determined by decisions they make?
And that's exactly right. You know?
And yet we've got about 21 Division I head coaching openings as of today. 5 seconds remain here. And Mark Primanti, the All-American, first-team All-American kicker, redshirt senior, 22 for 22, has not missed a field goal since November of 1995.
Well, if you're East Carolina, you want to go after this kick.
This will be 47 yards, 1 yard shy of his career long. It's up, and it got there, barely. And the Wolfpack will celebrate. The young man is still true to form. Make it 23 in a row for 1996. My goodness. What a way to end the half. The Wolfpack puts 3 on the scoreboard.
That's a pretty good display of why he is a shot to win the Lou Groza Award as the top place kicker, top field goal kicker in college football. With time running out in the first half, his team desperately needing to take advantage of the mistake by ECU. Primanti comes through.
And out of a muddy field, the young man pulls the Wolfpack to within 9 points. Our halftime score, NC State 13, East Carolina 22. Now with the GMAC halftime report, here again is Mike Adamle.
East Carolina University, the third largest university in North Carolina, was built on the foundation of excellent teaching. Today, that heritage is reflected in unexcelled diversity of learning opportunities encompassing the future as well as the past. Throughout the campus and beyond, East Carolina is teaching its students to think, to create, and to welcome the challenges of tomorrow.
I should say, in the NBA. It is halftime down in Charlotte, and behind the running of Scott Harley, East Carolina leads North Carolina State 22-13. We'll be back with the second half kickoff right after this.
Back at Ericsson Stadium here at halftime, the Wolfpack has pulled to within 9 points after somewhat of a lackluster offensive performance in the first half, but it has been all big play day for East Carolina, particularly fullback Scott Harley.
Oh, Scott Harley got off to a tremendous start. He's been the difference in the ball game. They haven't held him in check at all. Early on, a 75-yard run for a touchdown to get it going for a 7-0 East Carolina lead. Got good blocking, cut back, great speed, almost a carbon copy play. A little bit later, a 60-yard jaunt by Harley, but the NC defense came back later on, makes a pick. Tony Scott steps in front of a Gonzalez pass that set up the NC State offense, and then right before halftime, a roughing the kicker call on EC. East Carolina set up this field goal by Primanti that brought NC State back into the ball game, 22-13.
Rod, how big was that 47-yard field goal?
Oh, it's huge. It makes North Carolina State believe that it's their day. They have a chance to win. As you take a look at the stats, only 1 turnover, that interception we talked about. But look at the rushing yards, 241 by ECU right there. That is huge. North Carolina State hasn't done much of anything on the ground.
And Scott Harley, the man of the night, 17 carries, 194 yards. Remember, he set a school single-game rushing record against South Carolina on a night pretty much like this. Overcast, a sloppy field, misting rain. He galloped for 291 yards.
Yeah, he's a warrior.
Wolfpack kicks it off to start the second half, and Chris Hensler will kick it out of the end zone. And East Carolina will take over on their own 20.
Well, if you're North Carolina State, defensively, what you're thinking about is, 1, stopping Harley on the cutback play. That killed them in the first half to the tune of 194 yards and 2 touchdowns. And the second thing, you want a turnover. They only have 1, the 1 pickoff by Scott. Now they got to find a way to get another one.
I'd like to have been a fly on the wall in the East Carolina locker room when Steve Logan went over to talk to the special team.
Oh, yeah. Big mistake right before halftime.
Gonzalez starts the second half the way he began the first, giving it to Harley, and he does the same thing, gallops for about 12 yards.
Well, and if you're North Carolina State, that's not going to get it done. I mean, East Carolina came out the same way they started in the first half. Let's run Harley at them. Let's get our big old guys up front on their guys and dominate them. And the defensive line has been a problem for North Carolina State all season long.
Now Scott Harley, 18 carries for 207 yards. Again, Harley cuts it back. One man to beat. And he will be caught from behind. He skipped to the inside of the defensive back and scampers for 31 yards.
Well, remember how we talked about them coming out needing to stop him and stopping him from cutting back? Well, watch him here. You're going to see him right now make right there. See, there's the lane now. And he's going to use that, cutting back off the block and making sure he's able to go and pick up a lot of yardage. You see, he read the block, cut back behind it. North Carolina State not in position to handle it.
And minimal gain here. Gotta wonder if at halftime Steve Logan sat down with Doug Martin, the offensive coordinator, and said, okay, we are winning the battle up front with the offensive line. Let's just give the ball to Harley and grind it out and get some points on the board.
Well, I think you're right. There's a lot to that. When you look at those stats and see what he did in the first half, 194 yards in the first half, it makes you think, well, okay, he's got 240 now. Let's keep giving him the ball. He's a workhorse. He can carry the ball about 30 times, 35 times.
2nd and 10, East Carolina. They have stopped themselves, and the one interception stopped them once in the first half, but they give it again to Harley. Lots of running room outside, and he will be shoved out of bounds at or down near the 30-yard line.
I'll tell you something. They run the counter trade very well. I mean, Lamont Burns, number 64, is a big guy at 285 pounds, but he pulls very well. He got out in front of Harley that time, and that's a long way to go for a big guy. You got to have some agility and some athletic ability, and he's showing it.
Huge offensive front for East Carolina has gotten the job done for them all year long. Now they shift Scott Richards, the tight end. He goes from the I formation to the opposite side of the field. They motion Galloway, and Gonzalez back to pass, and he will throw it out to Harley in the flat, and great open field tackle by Marcel Huff, the cornerback. That guy's hard to bring down.
Yeah, you know, Huff did a great job that time. Nice one-on-one tackle. And, you know, Jerry, we talked about the secondary being young, being suspect. They played very well tonight. It's really been the running game that's killed them.
Yeah, up front, we talked about all those guys that were missing from NC State's defensive front after the spring. And that stop will bring up a 4th down and a field goal attempt of 47 yards by Chad Holcomb. His long of the year, 52 yards against Miami. And the kick is up. It's got the distance, and it is wide right. So for the first time, East Carolina misses an opportunity to add to their score, and the Wolfpack will get their first possession of the second half. Back with more from Ericsson after this.
ESPN2's presentation of college football is brought to you by Nike and by Campbell's Chunky, soup that eats like a meal.
Well, following the missed field goal, this crowd of almost 70,000 has gotten a little bit quiet.
North Carolina, chance to make their adjustments. You might think about a little bit of option on first down to handle the blitz and finding another receiver other than Grissett to get the ball to.
4 of the 7 receptions in the first half were to Grissett. This time they give the ball to the fullback. And they ride him up near the 35-yard line. That's Rod Brown. Marvin Burke there to make the stop. Yeah. If you're NC State at halftime, you go in, you got to understand, I guess Ted Kane and Mike O'Kane, the offensive coordinator and head coach, would talk about the fact that the option was successful, although you used it only limited.
Yeah, at halftime, you always have a list. What did we do very well and what hurt us? And then you want to keep doing those good things and make adjustments to the bad things. The option was a good one. You got to find more use for it in the second half.
2nd and and 6. This time they will give the ball to Stevens. He is up over the 35 and will be about 1.5 yards shy of the first down.
And if you're East Carolina, what you notice from the first half defensively is that your ability to blitz inside was very good. You've taken away the tailback dive up the middle. You've taken away the toss sweep if you're blitzing. Keep doing it. Expect them to adjust off of it then.
3rd and a couple. You hate to say it's huge for NC State, but on the missed field goal, NC State needs to get untracked offensively. Barnett changing the call at the line of scrimmage and will throw hot to his receiver, Albus Winter, who will have the first down. Kevin Monroe there to make the stop, and you would think that Barnett may have seen the cornerbacks back off a little bit.
Well, I'd back off of Whitted too. I mean, this is a guy who was running in the Olympics. You think that's enough room to give him? I don't know, maybe a little bit more. All he has to do is run down and turn around. This is a guy who's been in a race with Carl Lewis and Michael Johnson. You think he's afraid of a cornerback out there?
And the play goes in, and there's Albus Whitted.
They've got to get the ball to him a little bit more.
First down for the Wolfpack, keeps the drive alive. This time the option in the late pitch, and a mistake. And East Carolina looks to have recovered inside the Wolfpack 10-yard line.
Well, we talked about the option being a good play in the first half. It's a bad play here because Barnett makes an ill-advised pitch. He was trying to make something happen when he shouldn't have. Hart makes the play. Watch him right now. Here he comes at you. There's nothing there. He's slipping down, and he pitches the ball anyway. Bad relationship with Stevens. He's not in position to get the ball. East Carolina makes a huge recovery inside the 15-yard line.
Boy, what a huge turnover that was. And Barnett got just tagged as he let go of the football.
David Hart with the recovery down there. Turnover margin big for ECU.
And that's what defensive coordinator Paul Jett preaches. Turnovers. Give to Harley inside. Got a wall of blockers, and he will ramble down inside the 5. Gain of about 3 yards.
Now, a lot of coaches won't run the option in their own territory because they're afraid of plays just like that. If you want to make a mistake, they want to make it out in the middle of the field. That one wasn't so far deep into their own territory. It was the pitch that was so bad that made it go so far back. And Barnett can't be happy about that. And he's probably hoping he gets back on the field without his team giving up some points here.
East Carolina's always impressive running game inside the 5, and they give it again to Harley. He will score. Right side of the East Carolina offense, Lamont Burns, Ron Sudduth, Scott Richards, the tight end, and you cannot say enough about Scott Harley.
Yes,
the job he's done tonight.
Yep, 3rd touchdown of the evening. That one following the turnover by Jamie Barnett. Michael Cain, knowing that his team really set ECU up for that one, and they need some breaks to go their way. That man is going to have to create something because Scott Harley has been big tonight.
Well, what was a 9-point margin, now make it 16. Well, we told you all year long the Pirates were riding a Harley, and they rode him again for 6 here early in the 3rd quarter. Back at Ericsson Stadium, 3rd quarter, East Carolina. What can you say about Scott Harley? He has been unstoppable for the Pirates. He rambles in once again and puts them up by 16.
Yeah, 253 yards already. Now the backup quarterback, Jose Laureano, who throws the ball maybe a wee bit better than Barnett, is starting to loosen up.
Back to Albus Whitted. He's the speedster looking outside, and he will be corralled up over the 25-yard line.
Let's go back to that touchdown.
All right, coming up 6 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN Number 9, Tennessee goes to Nashville to take on Vanderbilt. It's the battle of the Volunteer State. Peyton Manning and the Vols cannot afford another in-state slip-up. Remember, they lost to Memphis a few weeks ago. That'll be starting very shortly over on ESPN Classic. We had Vanderbilt at the beginning of the year against Notre Dame. What a well of a game they played on Thursday night, almost upsetting the Fighting Irish.
Yeah, they play hard.
Lee Barnett still in the game. Takes the option, looking deep, and Alvis Whitted running in to Darren Hart and goes down, and some of this crowd would like a flag, but it looked like Whitted may actually have run into Hart.
Yeah, it looked like Hart was out there reading the ball, and Whitted kept going and ran right over him. And that was the play action off of the option. Remember, they ran the option the last series and they had the turnover? Well, now they come back with the option pass of it. You're not going to fool anybody running the option pass right after a big turnover on your option.
The freshman, redshirt freshman Jamie Barnett at the quarterback. True freshman Rashawn Spikes in at the eye back. Back to Spikes. And looking upfield, well, what an effort by Tabari Wallace as he got airborne trying to slap that one away.
Well, I'll tell you what North Carolina State has to do right now. They've got to throw the ball deep. The cornerbacks for ECU are just settling down, handling the 15 to 18-yard route. They don't respect or believe that North Carolina State can go deep on them. You got to loosen them up.
But now you're looking at 3rd and 10, and you got to believe that Carlos Brown, Lorenzo West, and that Pirate defense is going to pin their ears back and come at you.
Yeah, they may do that, although it might be risky with the scrambler here. Here they come.
Here comes Hart from outside, and overthrows Whitted. And they were getting pressure from both sides.
Well, if you're going to blitz a scrambler, what you do is bring him from the outside so he has nowhere to run but straight up the middle. Guys who scramble typically like to head to the outside. And East Carolina was prepared for it. They brought the blitz from both sides. Crane, number 33, came from the right side. Coleman came from the left side.
Can't say enough about Paul Jett, defensive coordinator for East Carolina. As the punt is away by Jason Biggs. Nichols back inside his 40, and he'll be brought down there. And we've got a flag upfield as the whistle was blowing, and the East Carolina players were jumping in the air celebrating. That was up there where Jason Biggs, the punter, was. Gotta believe it's possibly a personal foul. Find out from Randy Sims here, our referee.
Dead ball. Personal foul on the kicking team. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Well, there was no one there but the punter. You'd think if you're a punter, you don't want to pick on anybody.
Yeah, that's what you think, right? But, you know, when you're up 29, when you're down 29-13 and you're frustrated, maybe you take a shot at somebody.
Boy, Mike O'Kane cannot be happy about that. Cost him yardage. Down by 16 here in the 3rd quarter.
You know, we're reading the local papers. There was some speculation about Mike O'Kane and his job situation here. 3-7 season, losing season last year. But prior to that, they had a run of very successful seasons. He has a young team now. He has a contract that runs for the year 2000. I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon.
I don't think so. I think people forget too soon. I mean, when you have a down year, only 2 coaches have ever taken NC State to back-to-back bowls the first 2 years. Mike O'Kane did it. Another guy by the name of Holtz.
Yep.
East Carolina, midfield. They give the ball to Harley, and this time he is wrapped up. Outside pursuit, and they could not cut back. And once again, the whistles blow. And remember, we told you what happened back in '87. These two teams just don't like each other.
Yeah, back in '87, East Carolina won. And following the game, there was a near riot involving fans and players, and they didn't renew the regular season rivalry until today, some 10 years. They couldn't even agree on where to play this game.
Personal foul on the offense. 15-yard penalty.
Well, now you see why Steve Logan was fired up over there. He is not happy either.
Well, the last thing you want when your team is up by 16 points is to do something to give the other team a chance to get back in it or give them some momentum. And this kind of a penalty makes it almost impossible for you to continue your drive. You're going to have second in a long time. Let's see if we can see the personal foul here at the end of the play. Nowhere for Harley to go. I bet one of his guys comes over to protect him. Nothing there.
Hard to see it so far.
Yeah.
Well, it's second down and a day's ride for East Carolina. Make it 26 yards. And who else? They give it to Harley. He's wrapped up behind the line of scrimmage. And that's Kyle Blaylock piercing through there, the redshirt junior.
Well, you know, when you run that counter tray, you want your linemen to get turned upfield so that they can block. Now, if you attack them before they get turned upfield, then you got to play. There you see right there the lineman getting stopped before they can get turned upfield. That time it was number 36, Bobby Cotton, coming up making the play. Good job.
First time that Harley has been thrown for a loss today. Now Gonzalez will roll as a receiver downfield. Gets some, and the ball is tipped. And again, some shoving on the field. A couple of players pushing and shoving.
Well, you know, and this is typical of what goes on when these two teams get together. And North Carolina State really getting fired up now. Now remember, the East Carolina players tend to feel like they were slighted by North Carolina State. They weren't recruited by them, that they're the big hot shot guys playing in the big ACC, and little old East Carolina is an independent until next year.
And this guy has seemed like the Maytag repairman. He has been lonely. It's the first time he has punted today. Talking about Andrew Bays as he kicks it away. And Tony Scott, true freshman, back to receive end over end. And Scott will take it to 33. Up the middle. Cuts left. 40-45. And that's where the attack will start. Sunday night NFL coming up on ESPN. This week, Drew Bledsoe back on track for the Patriots and has New England in the thick of the playoff hunt. They'll face the always revved up Junior Seau and the San Diego Chargers. That's Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, right after NFL primetime. I love primetime.
Oh, yeah. Can't miss it. You know, you can almost miss games and just watch primetime.
Oh, these guys do a great job.
Yeah, don't get them.
Patrick and Theismann come on and tell you everything.
They're going to have something to tell you about Junior Seau and Drew Bledsoe.
My goodness, that should be a great one.
I saw Junior Seau play in college at USC. As a sophomore, he was probably the best football player in America.
And he hadn't lost a thing.
Yeah.
Well, the penalty pushes it back, and the Wolfpack will now start inside the 40-yard line. Trying to get their offense on track. Tremaine Stevens, nowhere to run. And that is exactly the kind of defense East Carolina has played. They allowed 30 yards rushing last week at Memphis.
Yeah, well, they're stopping the running game of North Carolina State. They targeted the tailback dive running up the middle with the fullback lead blocker. They're using their blitz to take that away. So if you're North Carolina State, you got to go, okay, all right, we won't do that. We'll do something else.
Hard to believe this is a team that allowed 410 yards total offense to Ohio this year. He runs the wishbone. Now Barnett changing the play. Will get pressure from the outside and throws it to Tremaine Stevens. And once again, Stevens has no shot. Carlos Brown is there. And B.J. Crane makes the tackle, but the injured Pirate is Darren Hart. Now, Hart came in on a safety blitz.
Well, how about the aggressiveness? They're bringing one from the outside, the left side, the other one from the right side. ECU really making sure that they blitz on every down. That time, B.J. Crane coming from the left side. Hart came from the right side. And once again, Darren Hart has knocked himself a little dizzy.
That's his nickname, Dizzy. Take a look at this. Rushing yards, Scott Harley, 250. North Carolina State, 35.
Yeah, I bet his parents are making sure they're taping the game to have this one to play back for his grandkids one day.
Well, third and long, make it 14 yards. Shotgun formation for Jamie Barnett. And pressure with a three-man rush. Receiver upfield and way overshoots Chris Coleman. And Jamie Barnett just tossed that one He might have could have run for the first down.
Yeah, well, I think coming into the ball game, ECU wasn't sure they could blitz Barnett because of his ability to scramble. I think now they feel like he's rattled, and they're turning it loose every single play, blitzing him from the outside and then changing up by blitzing from the inside.
And East Carolina looks like they may have jumped high spiral, sending Nichols back inside his own 20. And he dances, misses 2 tackles, gets to the outside. Penalty on the play as Nichols has run out of bounds. I would suspect we're going to get the dreaded block in the back.
Yeah, there's probably going to be offsides also. They may kick this thing again. I noticed looking on the sideline too, Paul Laureano is warming up. Jose Laureano is warming up a lot more now. Hey, maybe the officials are kind of cold. They like to huddle down there.
They're all getting together saying, let's see, said, where do you think we ought to eat?
Line up inside the man. Can you do that?
Okay. That's Randy Sims, officials from the Conference USA. Of course, East Carolina will join Conference USA in 1997. They become the 7th football playing member there.
Well, keep in mind that ECU was denied an opportunity to go to the Liberty Bowl. Finish after this.
Defense, offsides, that penalty's declined. We have an illegal block in the back on the receiving team. 10-yard penalty. That penalty is accepted. First down.
Now that's a good call on NC State's part because it's a spot foul.
Right.
The block in the black occurred at the 20-yard line, so they'll back him up to the 10. Yeah. And that's where there's no way you're going to re-kick the ball and get him in the 10-yard line.
Right. Had they re-kicked that ball, it would have been a 5-yard penalty. Kick it over. You're right. Nothing good's going to happen. But as the point I was trying to make earlier was that ECU was left out of the Liberty Bowl because the Liberty Bowl chose Houston over ECU. ECU will next year be a part of the Conference USA, and they can have a chance to win the title outright, but that wasn't the case this year.
Take a look at Steve Logan. What a huge year they have had at East Carolina, and what a huge night Scott Harley has had. This time the Pirates are backed up deep in their own territory. The 10-yard line. The worst start of the evening. And they give it to Harley. Why not? He will get 5. That'll bring up 2nd and 5. Let's check in back in the studio with Mike Adamle.
Well, Jerry and Rod at the Carrier Dome. Syracuse still has a pulse, trailing 35-10. Donovan McNabb rolls right, heaves it 70 yards. Miami blows the coverage. David Daniels with the touchdown, 35-17 Canes.
Wow, Canes is certainly looking good today.
Well, and Syracuse trying to hang on up there. Huge bowl implications for that one. And here, once again, Scott Harley will have it, and he will be maybe a yard shy of the first down. What a day it has been for the sophomore from Neptune, New Jersey. Take a look. Scott Harley opens the game, 75 yards on the first possession, cuts it back. And then how about a 60-yard scamper for the young man? And, of course, the last one just 6 yards away. Powers his way into the end zone. He has got all the tools, and just a sophomore.
Yeah, career day. The bad news for the rest of the conference, he'll be back next year, only a junior next year.
It was a first down for East Carolina. They give it again to Harley, and Morocco Brown is there after gain of a couple. Really, NC State's defense hanging pretty tough here. Aside from the penalties and the miscues they've made, they've played a pretty good second half. Yeah, they've been tough. They've hung in there very well. They are attacking that counter tray play when the two linemen pull. They're getting in front of that. And I don't think ECU really minds right now. They're bleeding some time off the clock. But eventually, they'll have to get away from that play and do something else. Remember that career game there, just 291 yards as the Yellow Hankies come out in the air once again. That was against South Carolina that Harley had those carries. 41 carries, 291 yards and a touchdown. And what impressed me most about that performance was it was in a driving rainstorm.
Offsides, defense, 5-yard penalty, repeat, second down.
There he is. His father was a running back. His grandfather, his uncle was a running back.
He told us yesterday that he loves Walter Payton, loves Jim Brown, and is a big fan of Barry Sanders. That's not a bad group.
Yeah, I tell you what, pretty good company there. 2nd and 4 for East Carolina. And they will give it again to guess who? And this time he will maybe get a yard, half a yard. Dewan Everett from his outside linebacker spot is there to make the stop. You know, talking about Harley, the young man impressed the seniors in spring camp this year. They didn't have a running back coming back, and so the seniors started picking on him. And a couple of them, I'm told, picked a fight with him. And after these 300-pounders lost 2 or 3 in a row, they nicknamed him Mike Tyson. And I asked Scott yesterday on the field, I said, they mentioned him anymore? I said, no, they've learned their lesson.
Yeah. Well, you got to be tough when you're a freshman.
All right, let's see what they do. 3rd and short. A short 4 yards. And they fumble the snap and stop themselves. That'll bring up a punting situation. So for the 2nd time in this football game, East Carolina will be forced to kick. And on comes Andrew Bay.
And you know what's bothering Steve Logan right now? His team is letting North Carolina State hang around. I mean, they needed to get the first down and demoralize NC State. They didn't. Now NC State has a chance to get the ball back and get points on the board late in the 3rd quarter.
We'll see if the Wolfpack will come after it. Standing on his own 11-yard line, Andrew Bay is a true freshman. He's got quite a leg, and they just don't get there. Nice high spiral, and Tony Scott will let it hit at the 35, and it will roll out of bounds and be blown dead at the 32. Will we see Jose Laureano for the Wolfpack? We'll find out when we come back. Back at Ericsson Stadium, Rod Gilmore, Jerry Punch bringing you this rivalry. And there's Jose Laureano. He's still standing at the sidelines. He warmed up a moment ago. Young man, redshirt sophomore from Orlando, Florida.
Yeah, but his hat's not on. When you don't have your helmet on, you're not going in the game.
That's the first clue.
Yeah.
Not looking for one play anyway. Jamie Barnett, high formation. Back to pass, looking upfield. Has a receiver. And that's Chris Coleman. Barnett looked awfully crisp on that pass. Gain of 13.
Yeah, and he went to somebody other than Grissett because Grissett went to the locker room with that last break to have something checked out, either equipment or to have something retaped. And so now the other receivers have to step up. They have to catch the ball. There's nobody else to throw the ball to.
They only had 3 healthy receivers coming in. Torrey Holt, who's the receiver of the future at NC State, had a dislocated collarbone against North Carolina. They hoped he would be back, but he was not able to play. Here comes the blitz, and Barnett softs one up there. Albus lit it in. Boy, a great open field tackle. That was Forrest Foster, and if he doesn't make that tackle on Whitted, it's 6 points.
Well, they've gone to the hurry-up offense here. It looks like they're sort of milling around the muddle huddle instead of really going into the full huddle. Now they're actually gun huddle. They hadn't huddled on that last play. And there you'll see the blitz coming up the middle, and then Barnett gets outside of it, gets a good block by Tremaine Stevens. That allows him to get rid of the ball.
Lonnie Gilbert did a nice job picking up Carlos Brown coming through on the blitz. This time they won't give it off to Tremaine, and he is hammered. A vicious tackle by Marvin Burke. My goodness, they're hitting him in a ton here. Let's check in back in the studio with Mike Adamle. Michael?
Well, Jerry and Rod down in Athens, Georgia trying to become bowl eligible against Georgia, but the Bulldogs spoiling the party. Here, Mike Bobo, 47 yards to Juan Daniels, and Georgia leads Tech 19-10. We're beginning the 4th quarter. Guys?
Well, I tell you, the East Carolina faithful are going to like to see that score because they want themselves to have a shot at the Independence Bowl or maybe one of the others.
Yeah, they're all going to be fighting for that last couple of bowl spots.
What a tough final 3 games for the Yellow Jackets. Barnett has a receiver, and it's Coleman once again. And if he gets that ball there about a second earlier, it's because 37, Forrest Foster had fallen down.
You're exactly right. One-on-one coverage. Foster fell down. Chris Coleman ran just a nice little curl route. You're going to see him bottom of your screen. There's the one-on-one coverage down there. Shows up and comes back to the ball nicely. Foster has gotten back up by now, is able to make the tackle. And Dr. Jerry Punch, you got to go to that locker room and find out what's going on with Grissom.
Okay, I'll head down there. It's all yours.
Yeah. Used to you being down there on that sideline.
A lot warmer up here. 1st and 10, and here comes the lots of pressure. Marvin Burke stepped up in the gap and was actually in the backfield, and somehow Tremaine Stevens manages to bull ahead for maybe a yard and a half.
Now remember the last time that East Carolina had the ball, and we talked about letting North Carolina State get a little momentum? Well, they have it now. Good play here. Once again, Marvin Burke stepping up to make the tackle, but NC State got the momentum on that last drive when ECU had to give up the ball.
And Rod Brown missed the block. He tagged him, but it's tackled for playing. High formation, 2nd and 9 and about a half. They fake it to Stevens. Looking in the end zone. Barnett will tuck it and run. And he will get about 3.5, 4 yards. That's where Alfonso Buck Collins will run him down. There's Alfonso. He don't want to be called Alfonso, so it isn't football-like.
Call me Buck.
Well, I guess he's got a point. I couldn't think about Alfonso Buckness, could you?
No, it's got to be just Buck Collins.
Buck Collins,
yeah. He wears number 81 because he also plays offense. He's a two-way player, plays tight end in the short yardage situation.
Well, he recovered a fumble and then caught a touchdown pass on one series early in the year, playing both ways. 3rd and 7 for the Wolfpack. 7th play of the drive. East Carolina acts like they're going to come. They back out of the blitz. Barnett rolls right. Looks to the end zone, and it's just off the fingertips of tight end Mark Thomas. And Mark just leaped in the air and couldn't quite reel it in.
But, you know, with Barnett, there are 2 plays. There's the play you call in the huddle, and then the one he actually runs when he breaks containment. He got pressured once again, moved outside, tried to make something happen. East Carolina is determined to keep blitzing this young man until they force him to break. And they broke the drive, but ECU has a shot at another field goal.
And there's Mark Tremonti, 47-yarder on a very, very slushy field as time expired in the first half. 26 consecutive kicks. And he is the leading candidate for the Lou Groza Award. A 39-yard attempt. The kick is up. And they don't call him Mr. Automatic for nothing. Make it 27 in a row for the young man from Thorndale, Pennsylvania.
And that's impressive. And he's nailing that thing out of probably the soggiest, muddiest part of the field. And he nails it like he could kick it from another 10 yards back.
You know, they had a field goal kicking contest at halftime. I don't think anybody got it off the ground down there.
Yeah, well, he got that one off the ground big time. And almost single-handedly, he's responsible for his team being in the ball game 29-16 on the strength of his field goals.
While the Wolfpack hanging around, 19 seconds to play here in the 3rd quarter. NCAA basketball. We're talking about Hampton University taking on Manhattan. That's coming up tomorrow on ESPN at noon Eastern time, 9 a.m. Pacific. And then Monday night, Indiana takes on Notre Dame. Indiana junior Andre Patterson was on fire as he led the Hoosiers over Duke in the NIT championship game. They'll all head up to South Bend, Indiana, and it's the Hoosiers and the Irish Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Well, how about Indiana beating Krzyzewski's Blue Devils?
Wasn't that something? Yeah, they had that great run in the second half. It looked like Duke was going to get it going in the second half. They were draining some three-pointers, and then Indiana just caught on fire.
Indiana just barely squeaked by in the semifinals and then comes in and plays like gangbusters in the finals. That's Perez Madison you saw a moment ago. Here's Chris Hensler. We'll kick it off. Now, if you're East Carolina, you don't want to let this Wolfpack football team back in the ball game. They've still got a 13-point advantage. And Mabry touches it. Now Perez will have to pick it up. And he is going to be brought down at about the 11-yard line.
Now this will give North Carolina State some life. Once again, they have Steve Logan's team backed up to inside the 15-yard line. Call it about the 12. Now, if you're North Carolina State, you probably got to take a chance. Like, you've got to be more aggressive now.
We showed you the Peach Bowl game that occurred almost 5 years ago, New Year's Day, 1992. And it was NC State who had dominated much of that football game and had a 17-point lead with 8 minutes to go in the game. East Carolina won the game by 3. It's NC State that's crawling back here tonight.
Exactly right. There should be seeing a reversal of that.
High formation, Gonzalez. And huge hole for Harley. And one man to beat. Kenny Harris will save the touchdown. 23-yard gain by Boss Hawk, they call him. That's a nickname the players have given him. Scott Harley.
Well, look at the middle of the screen. Look at the great job of blocking up there. Number 64, Danny Moore, and 67, Shane McPherson. Big hole up the middle. Harley just gets in there right behind it. Look again. Great blocking at the point of attack. You saw that right up front. Shane McPherson, 67, with a great block.
Well, Harley just 3 yards shy of setting another school record with 3 quarters over. It is East Carolina 29, NC State 16. We'll be back. Well, getting ready to crank it up in the fourth quarter here at Ericsson Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina. NC State trying to climb back into this one. They're down by 13. East Carolina will start off the fourth quarter. I formation. You got to wonder if Scott Harley has a quarter of a tank left. They give it to him. Yeah. He grabs it up and will be thrown for a loss. Rarely do you see that. Kid Carpenter ambushed him.
Yes, Carpenter's trying to convince him that he has less than a quarter of a tank left. Trying to put him on E. There's another flag down, though.
And East Carolina's players are pointing toward NC State.
That ball, personal foul on the defense. 15-yard penalty. Be a first down.
Boy, couldn't happen at a worse time. You throw the running back that's been beating you all night long for about a 4-yard loss, and then you give it back and then some on a personal foul call. Mental mistake.
Yeah, they cannot afford that the way that Scott Harley has been gouging them on the ground tonight. They need the ball. They can't allow that to happen, but you see Michael Caine really upset about that.
And DeJuan Everett coming over and saying, I was pushed, and Mike said, I don't care. You got the flag. You got to be disciplined. Gonzalez going for the ballpark. Over the middle. Oh, what a... Did he catch it? No, they're going to say he didn't have possession. Boy, almost a circus catch by Troy Smith. Couldn't quite hang on.
Well, you were right, though. He wanted to go deep first, but couldn't find anything. Morocco Brown, 48, drops into his lane of vision where he tries to throw the ball. But he wanted to go deep at first. He couldn't do it.
Great pass by Gonzalez. Had him right there. And NC State, a couple of players jumping as Gonzalez now changing the snap count up a little bit.
Offside defense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
This is a problem because now you've made it a short situation. It's going to be second and short, and Scott Harley has already killed you on the ground. I think he's going to get the ball again. If not now, then the next play. But you're going to run him some more now.
Michael Caine thinking, hey guys, they don't need any help. Ultimately, their offense has been tonight. And Gonzalez now changing the play. Thinking there may be some pressure coming on the outside. He will stop and throw hot on the slant. Has a receiver. That is Chappell. And Lamont Chappell on a great audible at the line of scrimmage by Dan Gonzalez. This young man's only started 4 football games, and he is a heady quarterback.
Well, you're exactly right. He saw the blitz coming, picked it up. He sees this man here showing blitz. He sees there's nobody there that tells him man-to-man coverage. He looks, runs the inside route, finds his man, Chappell. Nice throw, but a smarter job by the quarterback to recognize the blitz.
He knew they were sneaking up. Kid Carpenter was going his outside linebacker spot. First and 10 inside the Wolfpack 30-yard line. And who? Guess who? Harley will spin out of a tackle. How many times has he carried the football tonight?
Well, he had 30 carries a moment ago. He's probably up to 31 now, 32 carries. But, you know, he looks like he can still carry it a bit more. He doesn't look that tired to me right now.
You know, running backs in Steve Logan's one-back offense have averaged 27 carries a game since 1991.
And you think of them as a passing team. They throw the ball a lot, but they make sure that their top back gets the ball.
And we are told he is 3 yards away from his career high as Gonzalez back to pass, steps up, has some opening, and he will be tackled, but not before he gains about 3 or 4 yards. Let's check back in with Mike Adelman. What do you have for us, Michael?
Well, Jerry and Rod, you can't bury the Syracuse Orangeman just yet. Donovan McNabb, another touchdown pass. This one a rifle shot. 35-24, 9:55 left.
Boy, does McNabb have a gun or what?
I don't know, but Mike Tirico is probably back in the studio pulling his team on to get back in that ballgame.
Still plenty of time left for Paul Pasqualoni's bunch up at the Carrier Dome. The times are running out for the Wolfpack if they can't stop East Carolina here. 12:53. 3rd and 5. They got Chappell over the middle, but he's looking deep and wide open. That is Troy Smith for 6.
Well, just a couple of plays ago, we told you Gonzalez did a nice job of reading the blitz. Well, on that play, he read the zone. Read it perfectly. They ran the right route against it. They got the touchdown.
23-yard pass play. Dan Gonzalez to the sophomore Troy Smith.
Yep, he sees him wide open, cornerback up close, safety didn't get over. Nice, easy touchdown.
And looks like East Carolina is going to consider going for 2. They're going to take a timeout and talk about it. And as they talk about it, we will take a break and come back and tell you what Steve Logan and the Pirates decide.
ESPN2's presentation of college football is brought to you by the Nicoderm CQ patch. You bring a commitment, Nicoderm CQ brings the rest. And by Foot Locker, where it all begins.
Well, the decision's been made. Steve Logan's going to go for 2, and you got to consider the fact that if they kick the extra point, they're up by 20, which means NC State is within 3 touchdowns. And if they go for 2, then NC State would have to go for 2, or at best could tie it with 3 scores.
Yeah, I think they want points.
Well, it sounded good anyway. All right, shotgun formation. The fade route, and they say he's out of bounds. 6'6" Larry Shannon did not come down, and the official says, here's your footprint.
Yeah, he didn't get that foot down. It's right on the line. He steps out of bounds. If he touches the white, yep, you see, here we go. Right there. There's that footprint right there. See, so he's there. Touch that, you're out of bounds. Once again, you'll see the fade route. Watch the right foot. Does he get it down, or does it touch out of bounds? Right on the end zone line.
Good call by the official. Take a look right side of your screen, right foot down. Well, hard to tell.
Well, he got part of the foot inbounds, but part of it was touching the white. But here's the touchdown route. Here's the corner. Here's the safety. They've got to make sure they stop things, but he's going to get occupied with this guy right here, and he's not going to go with him. No one will go, and then he gives him freedom to go. Now, see, right there, nobody over here. He's up here thinking about this guy when he should be back here. That's a problem, and that's what allows the receiver, Chappell, to get free for the touchdown. The corner on that side got sucked up on the short route. Bad news.
19-point margin. There's the scoring drive. 7 plays, 86 yards, 235. Bradley Rivers. Sky kick. Pull back up 40-yard line. That is Carlos King. And they do not want to kick the ball deep and give a chance for Whitted or Spikes to turn one back. Take a look at the yardage by half, and domination by East Carolina. First half, they had a huge advantage. Second half, 20 yards. Total offense by North Carolina State.
Yeah, I was going to say, Harley's had a great game, but it really has been the East Carolina defense that's been the difference tonight. I mean, they have been aggressive from start to finish. They've shut down the running game for North Carolina State and really limited the passing attack.
Fake to give, play action, going deep for Coleman. He steps up and will make the catch at about the 20-yard line.
As Jimmy Brissett is back in from the locker room. And actually, he wasn't open. and Barnett just threw it out there into coverage, and Grissett made a nice play.
Sort of underthrew the pass to Grissett.
Yeah, I mean, Grissett is actually covered here. Barnett just hangs it up there. You see the corner, the safety came over to make the play. He's in pretty good shape to make the coverage there. Kevin Monroe is number 35. The ball was underthrown.
Wolfpack now threatening to try to get some points on the board. They fake the play action again, and Barnett has a receiver. That is Grissett. And did he make the catch? They got a penalty on the play, and Grissett is applauding the official there. Tabari Wallace was a defender. The right cornerback, and Tabari is apparently going to get called for the pass interference.
Yep, you're exactly right. And Wallace was draped all over him. That ball took forever to get there, and Wallace thought he could make a play, and he's hanging on, and he's trying to decide, Jerry, if he can go in front for the interception or if he has to knock it down. And he hesitates, uses that left hand on the backside of Grissett to knock the ball down, but he gets flagged for the contact.
So a break for the Wolfpack will give them first and goal inside the 5-yard line, down by 19.
And Steve Logan is thinking, just when you thought that they've gotten control of the ball game, North Carolina State is back down threatening.
Motion by Rod Brown. Shotgun formation by Barnett. And he will try to quarterback. And he will score. Quarterback draw, play a design draw to Jamie Barnett, and he sneaks through for 6.
You know, actually, it looked like he closed his eyes. And Barnett ran the draw play and initially ran it to a bunch of his old guys. There he is, quarterback right there in the middle. He's just going to run it there. Watch what he does. He gets going with the ball, and then he kind of just says, oh, I don't think anything is there. So look, he closes his eyes. He runs right into his own guys. Right there, the hole is out here. Now watch, he's going to come out of that thing and then find his way into the end zone. Nobody ever really had a hand on him. He just couldn't see it first.
Extra point up. And good by Mark Tremonti, and the Wolfpack will just not go away. They claw their way back to within 13. Back in a moment. Back at Ericsson Stadium, Rodney Gilmore and Jerry Punch bringing you the rivalry that's waited 5 years to be resurrected. And Michael Cain liked what he saw a moment ago. Wolfpack offense punching it in for 7, drawing back within 13 points. These two teams have a history of playing some nail-biters, the last one being that Peach Bowl in 1992.
Yeah, remember in that ball game, it was Jeff Blake for East Carolina that brought them back from a 17-point deficit in the fourth quarter.
8.5 minutes to go in that game. There's still 12 minutes and 14 seconds, and the Wolfpack is down by 13.
NC State is now the team with the scrambling quarterback who can make things happen.
Chris Hensler set to kick it off. And once again, Papery mishandles it, picks it up, has a seam up over the 25, and that's where the Pirates will start. And the count is in. It is indeed a record crowd, the largest college football game, largest crowd to ever see a college football game in the state of North Carolina, 66,347. Look at the other two records. They were both NC State, East Carolina games back at Carter Finley Stadium in 85 and 86.
Yeah, that tells you how important this game is in the state of North Carolina.
And possibly another mistake on that return. Block in the back is going to back up East Carolina once again.
Personal foul on the receiving team during the run back. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Well, one of East Carolina's last 3 possessions have been the 10-yard line, the 11-yard line, and now back. They're going to mark it down about the 8.5.
Yeah, Steve Logan is doing a great job of keeping his composure on the sideline when his team is doing everything to give NC State a chance to stay in the ballgame, and they have.
Oh, he's got to be burning inside. 12-point differential. I apologize, I said 13 a moment ago. 35-23. Motion by Nichols. Flanker screen. And And that is to Galloway. Is that Chapel?
That's Galloway with the ball, but it was Nichols with the great block out there that allowed Galloway to get outside. And Nichols is not a big guy. He's only about 175 pounds, if that. At that time, he got out there and threw a nice block. Galloway got the ball behind him, picked up a little yardage.
First pass to Galloway this half. He was the go-to guy in the first half. Senior from Bennettsville, South Carolina. That'll bring up a second down. Second and about 5. They will give it to Harley inside, and he is boxed up, but will still gain about 3.5 yards.
See, right now, North Carolina State needs to be able to commit a 5th, 6th, 7th guy to stopping the run, but they don't want to do that because they've had trouble in the secondary. So they're playing zone in the secondary and trying to handle the run with their 4th down linemen without blitzing their linebacker.
The whole time NC State had the football a moment ago, their defensive end and defensive coordinator Jeff Snipes was talking to his defensive front and explaining to him how important this series would be. It is 3rd and inches for East Carolina. Take a wild guess who they're going to go to. And I don't blame them.
Scott Harley.
Harley has it, has the first down, and could have more. Outside, 25, 30, 32-yard line.
Yeah, you know, but how many yards did he get after contact was first made? Probably about 5 or 6. I mean, he's like a bowling ball out there. You just don't bring him down by yourself, and you certainly don't bring him down if you don't wrap him up.
And that run right there will set a new single-game rushing record for East Carolina University. He set it early in the year against South Carolina. He ran for 291 yards. And that one right there, 34 carries, 305 yards, averaging 9 yards every time he touches the pigskin. Now Gonzalez looks upfield, has a tight end, throws it behind Scott Richards. Richards is wide open up near the 40-yard line.
And that's a play that Gonzalez wanted to do in the first half. You heard him talking to his coach on the sideline in the first half about the tight end dragging across the middle, and he didn't see it. Well, this time he saw it. Steve Logan went back to it. He just threw the ball behind Richards.
And Gonzalez subbing for the injured Marcus Crandall, who is dressed out. And Crandall actually ran the offense some this week. Here jump. As Gonzalez changing the snap count, trying to keep the NC State defense off. And they are fighting, and Harley just dragging people. They had him up about the 35-yard line, and he just drugged tacklers for an extra 5 yards.
And, you know, we just talked about that a couple of plays ago. And the initial contact just doesn't do much on him unless you really have those ankles wrapped up. And he does a good job. Watch him here after the initial contact. You see all the guys jumping around at first. Good blocking up front at first. Now watch him now. He's hit there, but he still squirts away, gets another 4 yards out of it. I mean, 5 yards. Come on. Who are you kidding?
That'll bring up 3rd and a couple, and believe it or not, someone else will get to run it tonight. 5-yard gain for East Carolina.
Yeah, Raymond Mabry that time.
And Mabry, the sophomore, who never gets to carry the football, only because Scott Harley didn't want to come out of the football game. Now he'll come back in. One play, that's enough rest,
That's
Coach.
all you get. Yeah, Mabry had carried the ball 15 times coming into the ball game. His uniform isn't even dirty.
But look at Harley. I mean, he's got the shirt tail hanging out, the dirt. He's got chalk on his arms. He says, you know, my heroes are Walter Payton. Look at him. Look at
him. He looks like that. Look at that.
Pads hanging out, holes in his jersey. 7th play of a drive. First down, line of scrimmage, East Carolina 45-yard. They started from their own 7-yard line. Gonzalez looking for a receiver, and we'll have Troy Smith. If you're wondering why, we told you the fact that Marcus Crandall was able to practice this week and did not play. Steve Logan says, I think Marcus Crandall has a definite shot to play in the NFL. His knee is not completely healed. He could play if we needed him, maybe in a shotgun and a 2-minute offense. But why put the young man in the game?
Yeah, a bad knee and a bad field. That's a bad combination. And so he's thinking about the young man's future, and he says, you know, this guy can be like Jeff Blake of the Cincinnati Bengals. Blake played at ECU, and Crandall is that kind of quarterback.
Jeff Blake plowed the way to the NFL ground as they plow ahead for the first down. You know, Jeff Blake was a trap option quarterback when he came to East Carolina, and this guy right here was a run-and-shoot quarterback.
Yeah.
But Steve Logan took him and molded him and said, I want to teach you basically the Bill Walsh West Coast offense.
Yeah, and he runs it well. And I saw him play in that Liberty Bowl last year against Stanford, and whenever East Carolina needed to have a play made, he made it. I mean, that's the kind of player he is.
Logan says that Crandall may have the single quickest release he's ever seen. He's right up there with Marino. Speaking of releasing one long, here's the long pass, and touchdown. Larry Shannon waiting on the football, and the 6'6", 205-pound junior from Stark, Florida. And apparently there will be a penalty in the end zone, possibly a celebration call.
Oh, definitely a celebration flag. What he did was he caught the touchdown, and then he was ready. He reached in his pants and pulled out his flag to wave to the crowd. That's an orchestrated celebration. It's a 15-yarder, but you know, in this kind of rivalry, they don't mind rubbing it in. Shannon, 6'6", going against the shorter Scott, who's only 5'11". He gets beat, and now he gets over Scott. Picks it up. Now watch him now. Now he goes for the flag. It's in there somewhere. I'm going to celebrate. Take the 15 yards. Hey, okay, here we go.
Shannon, every time he catches one, he sets a record, and that will be the 20th touchdown catch of his career, which, of course, is an East Carolina record. And they will call the unsportsmanlike conduct. They will assess it on the kickoff.
And what do you think? Coaches are telling him, you know, not a good idea. Nice catch. The whole thing with the flag, not good.
And Chad Holcomb will try to add to the lead. And the kick is up and good. So from 43 yards away, it is Dan Gonzalez to this guy right here, Larry Shannon, who adds 6 more to the Pirates' total. Back at Ericsson Stadium, there's Larry Shannon, a young man who came from a tiny high school in Stark, Florida. When he came to East Carolina, Steve Logan said he was so skinny he could tread water in a garden hose. But the young man bulked his way up. They wanted to make him a defensive back, so he's just too weak to catch a football.
Oh, yeah, he's real big now. He's 6'6", 205. I mean, that's a string bean still.
But he gets the job done, and the penalty will put the kickoff back at the 20-yard line. A celebration call for finding the old hanky in the underwear. And they will sky kick it up. And that is Rashawn Spikes, and he fights his way through, still on his feet, and will finally get up to midfield. And that's where NC State will take over.
Spikes wasn't shy about going to get that football. It was actually kicked more over to Scott, and he went over and stepped in front of Scott and took the ball. But, you know, great return men are aggressive. They have to go get the football.
Rashawn Spikes, a parade All-American out of Maloney High School up in Meriden, Connecticut, scored 77 touchdowns. In high school, ran for 6,800 and some yards.
Not a bad high school career.
He's a true freshman, so the future is certainly bright for the Wolfpack there. They fake it to Stevens, and Barnett will have to run for his life. Has plenty of room. Cuts it back upfield. Takes on a couple of tacklers, and down in the 30-yard line, he splits 2 tacklers downfield and gets down to the 30-yard line. Let's check in once again with Mike Adamle. Michael?
All right, Jerry and Rod, over on ESPN, another game where passions run deep. It has taken Tennessee nearly 20 minutes, but they finally scored against Vanderbilt. Jay Graham, 5 yards out, 7-0 Vandy, or Tennessee, in what could be Peyton Manning's last game.
Well, I tell you, Vanderbilt does a great job. Woody Weidenhofer on defense. We saw what he could do at the beginning of this year against Notre Dame and also against Alabama.
Yeah.
Barnett back to throw, getting some pressure, has a receiver. Oh, almost picked off. Boy, he threw right between two receivers.
That ball was a little bit behind Grissett, and no pass interference call because it really wasn't a case of the defensive guys running into the receivers. It was the ball being thrown behind.
Yeah, there was no good coverage by Tabari Wallace. Take a look once again.
Yeah, this ball is behind. You see Wallace coming over. There's the ball behind him. He's just trying to catch it. And the receiver has no right to say, hey, he can't catch that ball.
He even threw it behind the defender.
Yeah.
Shotgun, 2nd and 10. Wolfpack, Barnett gets some pressure, steps up, and will throw it. Oh, throws it in the toward Grissett, who was surrounded by 3 East Carolina defenders.
You know, when you have a quarterback like Barnett, every now and then you're going to get blitzed, and you blitz him up the middle so that he doesn't run out on you. But watch the job that his back does in the middle. Stevens there, number 20, picks up Hart coming on the blitz, and that allows Barnett to have enough time to throw the ball down the field, even though he didn't complete it. Great protection. 12 out of 34. Not a good percentage tonight.
Well, with a 19-point deficit, this play going to be huge for the Wolfpack. 7:40 remaining here in the 4th quarter. Barnett tucks it, throws the ball to Grissett. He will cut back, have the first down, and a flag comes from the back judge, possibly a block.
Yeah, they were looking at Carlos King, number 39, who made a block right over there where Grissett made his cut back to the middle of the field, and I think they're going to flag him for a block in the back.
Indeed, that is the call. You've got it, Rod, and that will nullify the great catch and run by Jimmy Grissett.
Grissett is the guy that they're always trying to get the ball to, particularly on 3rd down. And watch the end of the play. You're going to see what happens here. Grissett wide open right now. He's going to come back in. Now, here comes your block right there. Carlos King right there making the block in the back. That was the penalty.
And that puts NC State at 9 penalties, and that ties a season high. Not a record you want to tie.
Yeah, that's a bad deal. You don't want to have a lot of penalties, particularly in a rivalry game either. I mean, that just really sends things downhill for you.
That moves the football back to about the 33-yard line. 3rd and 13. And times are wasting for the Wolfpack. Barnett back to throw, getting some pressure, throws it over the middle, and has the receiver. That is the fullback, Carlos King.
Yeah. and finally, they throw a flag for pass interference. I mean, I'm not one to jump on a bandwagon about PI, but that time the receiver was just being hogtied by the defender. I mean, it looks like Hart is just wrestling King to the ground because King is so big, he's all over him. That's an automatic first down. You got to call that one.
You know, it would have been shy of the first down.
Pass interference, defense, be a spot foul, and an automatic first down.
When the ball is in the air, you cannot touch the receiver. Well, that time, Hart never took his hands off the receiver, King.
You know, they were going to be about 1.5 yards shy of the first down, so NC State would have probably obviously had to go for it on 4th down. But as it is, it's 1st and 10 Wolfpack. Moving it on the 7-minute mark. 19-point game, East Carolina dominating the 1st and 2nd half in terms of yardage. NC State trying to hang in, this time the option, and it will a halfback pass. Carlos King will cut it back and run the football, and he will get maybe back to the line of scrimmage. No gain.
Well, you know, the trick play was going to show up, and East Carolina was looking for it, and they were absolutely prepared for it. Hart and company staying back on it, weren't fooled by it. Watch them right here. They're going to stay back when the option pass comes. Here it comes now. They stay back. The receiver isn't open now.
And the interception is picked off, but the penalty flag coming from the end zone. I believe they're going to bring it back.
Yeah, that was David Hart who picked it off, but I think they're going to flag East Carolina for interference down the field.
Jimmy Grissett suddenly got airborne downfield. I don't think he jumped. So a great move in the interception by Hart, but it may go for naught.
Yeah, that's Carlos Brown, number 53, pleading his case in there. I think it's a done deal, though. I think they've already assessed the penalty against ECU.
Officials talking it over.
They're having a good long conference this time.
Randy Sims, a referee from Conference USA, along with his staff. They did a great job on this game tonight.
Yeah, they've been fantastic. You know, they've reversed a couple of calls when they had to, when the situation mandated it. But they're having a tough time right now getting this thing squared away and spotted up for all of us. Now they're going to get to it.
Now let's listen to Randy, see what he has to say.
Pass interference on the defense. Spot foul. That's an automatic first down.
Let's see if we can see what happened again to Grissett.
Well, Grissett is right there, you know, and the ball's going to be coming. He gets knocked off his feet, and now the ball is thrown, and now it's picked off. Well, of course it's picked off. Grissett got knocked down where he was going to be. It was Brown who took the shot on him and knocked him down.
So 1st and 10, the Wolfpack will have the ball almost to the 10-yard line. Shotgun by Barnett. Moving down on 6 minutes to play. He looks for the fade, will throw it anyway. And once again, a flag in the end zone.
That's another pass interference. And it looked like it was Monroe that time, 35, Kevin Monroe, who was locked up in man-to-man coverage on Grissett and was locked on him. I mean, really had his hands on him down there right in front of the official.
Pass interference on the defense. In the end zone. It will be placed on the 2-yard line. It's an automatic first down.
Well, a couple of calls this time. Let's see once again. Here's the coverage. Those are the guys you're watching. Let's see what happens down here in the end zone. You see him making a move towards the ball. Oh, man.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know about that one.
Ooh. Looks like he just used that left hand to try to make the play.
1st and goal from the 3-yard line. Barnett looking for a receiver. Oh, great defensive play. And by Carlos Brown, and we see another flag. Rash of yellow fever here at Ericsson Stadium in the 4th quarter.
There's been a lot of laundry down there on this drive. How many 2 or 3 pass interference calls on this drive alone? Illegal participation.
And a substitution violation, participation on East Carolina. Here's the play again.
This time you'll see Carlos Brown, 53, coming over to make the play in front of Carlos King. That ball was thrown a little bit late by Barnett. He needed to throw it sooner and further out to the sideline so King could go get it.
Full house backfield. It's NC State's short yardage situation. They will put Stevens in motion, and they will give it to the fullback, and he will score. Rod Brown goes across for 6. And by virtue of some penalties, some pass interference calls, NC State hanging tough. Got to give them credit. They're not going to quit.
Nope, they're right back there. You know, only a couple of plays away from being tied or ahead in this ball game. Now the question is, do you go ahead and kick the 1-pointer, or you take the 2? You're down by 13 points. You take the 2, you get 2, you're back within 11, which puts you in position to tie it up with the field goal and a touchdown and another 2-point.
Yeah, no question at all that Michael Kay is going to go for it here. Barnett looking for the receiver, Grissett, and it is no good. Grissett can't hang on to the conversion. So NC State gets back on the scoreboard from 1.5 yards away. The dive play to senior fullback Rod Brown. We'll be back. Back in Charlotte, North Carolina, NC State back within 13 points. Now what do you do? 6 minutes, 4 seconds remaining. You onside it or you kick it deep?
Well, I think you onside it. Your defense hasn't really stopped them. You're running out of time. Got to get the ball back. And that's what Michael Kane is going to do. He has his hands team on the field. A lot of guys with numbers like 20 and 80. Not any big guys.
Well, normally the kickoff man is Hensler, but Mark Permani, who is the possible Luke Rosa winner, he's the specialist. He is on the onside kicking.
Remember, the field is wet. It could affect the way this ball moves when it's kicked or when you try to handle it.
That's exactly what they wanted to get. Nichols picks it up, and Heek is going to score. They ran right by him, and the flanker, Jason Nichols from Norcross, Georgia, and the onside kick backfires, and suddenly, just like quickly, East Carolina gets 6.
I mean, have we seen it just about everything now? You try an onside kick, and they score a touchdown on it. Unbelievable. Jason Nichols plucks it out of the air and runs it back down the sideline. And remember we talked about the hands team, how you have all these guys who are used to getting the ball, but they're not used to tackling. And that time, they didn't even try to tackle that man.
I mean, he just caught it on the run and just took off.
Yep. A very aggressive move, and now ECU again going for 2 points.
Up by 19, he'll try to make it 21. Gonzalez, 3 wide receivers looking for the tight end, and he has Richards in the end zone. Well, Steve Logan's got to be loving this. East Carolina, 7-3 coming in. Now up by 21, and a lot of speculation as if these guys might, with an impressive performance tonight, get a shot at a postseason bowl bid. Take a look once again at the onside kick and the scamper by Jason Nichols.
Yeah, well, very aggressive move here on the special teams. There is number 1, Jason Nichols, picks up the ball. Nobody there. Nobody around him at all. He just comes right on up there. Everybody runs past him. It's just a 40-yard sprint. And this man knows how to run 40 yards in very quick time.
Jason says, now here's a 2-point conversion. The tight end sliding out. Great catch by Scott Richards, backing up. The ball was thrown behind him, and the young man from North Augusta, South Carolina, gives the Pirates a 21-point lead with 5:58 remaining.
Well, when your nickname, your mascot is the Pirate, you got to have an aggressive team, and we have seen Steve Logan's team be aggressive on offense, on defense, and then that very aggressive play on the onside kick.
Logan's a gambler, and it's paying off for him. It's paid off now for 5 years at East Carolina. High kick to Albus Winnett back at its own 6-yard line. And the sprinter will come over to 25, 27. That's where NC State will take over. Talking about Steve Logan, when he came up here to sign the contract 2 years ago to renew this matchup, take a look at Logan's run, the pedigree. He started under Jimmy Johnson at Oklahoma State as a tight end coach. Then went to Tulsa under John Cooper, Colorado under Bill McCartney, East Carolina, Bill Lewis, who went on to Georgia Tech and is now with the Miami Dolphins.
He's learned from some of the best.
Some of the outstanding minds in college football have tutored that young man and done a great job. Barnett, and trying to throw the screen to Steve. It started to say a moment ago, when Steve Logan came up here 2 years ago with his athletic director, as a flag is now being thrown, we're getting some altercations on the field. When he came here 2 years ago, signed the contract, he was so excited that finally his team was going to get a chance to play NC State. On the way back to East Carolina, their plane lost power and crashed in a soybean field. He climbed out of the cockpit. The pilot of the plane had a cell phone, said, I've got to call my family. I've got to call my son Nate at school. I don't want him to hear that the East Carolina coach's plane has crashed. He'll be worried. So from a soybean field, before he called anybody, he called the school, asked the principal to speak to his 11-year-old son and said, son, you're going to hear in a few minutes that I've been in a plane crash, but I'm fine. And his son said, Daddy, okay, you're fine, but did you sign the contract? That's how much the people in Greenville have wanted this football game.
Yeah, and his own family. He has to go through a plane crash, right? And his own kid says, yeah, but what about the game?
A lot of speculation as to where this young man where Coach Logan will be next year, 43 years of age.
Well, there are a lot of coaching vacancies, and his name has already come up in connection with another number of them. He hasn't said much about it.
There's the completion to Winnett. And gain of about 5 there. You know, we asked Logan about the coaching situation, and he said, you know, there's this time of year, there's two ways you talk about coaches, guys that are being fired and guys that are being hired. At least I'm in the good category.
Yeah, but you know what that means. I mean, there's a guy who's not going to outright deny that he is a candidate or that people are talking about him. Other guys would simply say, no, we're not going to, I'm staying here forever. He hasn't said that.
And the completion up near the 40-yard line, that's Carlos King. And that will be good up for the first down and stop the clock for NC State. You know, we're talking about Conference USA and the fact that these schools got together and form a conference, a bunch of schools that no one had given a lot of respect. East Carolina goes in there next year as a 7th football playing team. And they've got some teams that have pulled off some pretty good upsets this year.
Yeah, if you take a look at this pass over to Carlos King, keep in mind that Memphis is part of that Conference USA, and they beat Tennessee earlier this year.
East Carolina beat Miami and South Carolina. Louisville beat Michigan State. And Southern Mississippi beat Georgia.
Well, I think coaches around the country understand that the Conference USA and ECU have outstanding programs. It's just the rest of the people who have to come to understand how good the football teams are in Conference USA.
Completion to Jimmy Grissett up inside the 40-yard line, and there certainly is no quit in this Wolfpack. If you're Mike O'Kane, we talked to Mike yesterday. He said, you know, we knew we only had 9 teams on this football team, so we knew it was going to be a rough year.
Yeah, next year will be a better season for North Carolina State. They will have a very experienced team by having to play a lot of sophomores and freshmen this year. They'll be tough.
27 seniors they'll have next year for the Wolfpack. And, of course, only 1 senior on the offensive line. They'll have 4 of 5 starters back there. They've redshirted a couple of defensive linemen. They really have just been porous up front defensively, but that's certainly no fault of the defensive coaches. You got to give a call. I mean, Jeff Snipes and Kent Briggs, the co-coordinators at NC State, I mean, they can't make a tackle. They can't get on the field and block.
Yeah, well, they lost a lot of players this year, too. We talked about that earlier. Guys that were lost because of suspensions and injuries. They've been playing. As you take a look at the total number of yards, East Carolina has run up on that North Carolina State defense. So 600.
And Barnett will tuck it and run. 30, 25, cuts it back. The young man's got some speed. Almost breaks it loose and is finally brought down at about the 10-yard line by David Hart. NC State trying their best.
Well, that man can run. You know, and he throws the ball very well, too. That was a nice example of his ability to make a play out of nothing.
Redshirt freshman out of Roxborough, North Carolina. Back to throw once again and holds it, and turns it loose. Was it a pass or was it a fumble?
It's a fumble. It's a fumble. They're calling it a fumble because his passing arm never moved forward. He never made any motion or attempt to throw the ball. He simply held the ball aloft, and it got knocked out. And long night, long afternoon for the redshirt freshman. This ball, as you watch it, he's going to hold it up. See, he's holding that ball right up there now. He's going to get it back up there, and he just loses it. He never, ever tried to throw that thing. Just came out of his hand. There's another penalty flag on the field. It appears to be against East Carolina for celebrating too much. As you see the turnovers there, by North Carolina State.
As you see Mike O'Kane, he knows that the East Carolina people waited 5 years for this one. That next year, he gets the Pirates in Raleigh. They come to Carter Finley Stadium.
Yeah, but you know, he told us that there really isn't an upside for North Carolina State to play East Carolina. You know, because really, they play the other schools in North Carolina. It doesn't help them in recruiting. All they do is give East Carolina a platform from which to say, hey, we knocked off a team from the ACC.
But the General Assembly made it a moot point. They said, you guys got to play. So now, in fact, North Carolina will play them. East Carolina coming up, I think, about 2001. And they give the ball to Scott Harley. If you're asking how that can happen, the North Carolina General Assembly met, and a bill was introduced to force NC State and North Carolina to play East Carolina. East Carolina, the 3rd largest school in the state, because of the fact they get state funding. They will withhold funding. So NC State will play them 4 times. They play this year, play next year in Raleigh. In 1999, they go down to Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium, and in 2004, they come right back here to Ericsson.
Yeah, East Carolina loves it. North Carolina State, they're not real happy about it.
They will play the North Carolina Tar Heels twice beginning in 2001. And Harley not going to give up. Says, I'm going to stay in bounds and let the clock run.
Smart running by Scott Farley. But that's no surprise. He's a very bright, intelligent young man. We had a chance to visit with him yesterday. Very impressive, not just on the football field, but certainly off of it as well.
37 carries, 331 yards. And he's a sophomore.
I'd say that's pretty good. That 8.9-yard average. They broke off 2 long touchdown runs tonight, one for 75 yards, the other for 60.
Well, Steve Logan wanted to make a case for his team getting a shot to play in a bowl game. I think they have done it tonight. Harley gets the carry once again. You know, if you're a bowl scout, you've got to look at the fact that East Carolina, a couple of years ago, 5 years ago, when they played in the Peach Bowl, brought 28,000 people. Yep. They played in the Liberty Bowl the past 2 years, bringing 18,000 both years, and they sold 32,000 tickets for this one here tonight.
Yeah, they traveled very well. You know you're going to get a couple things with East Carolina. A lot of fans and an exciting team, offensively and defensively. They are not at all dull.
Mike Hamrick, the athletic director at East Carolina, told us last night on the field that the folks from the Independence Bowl had been by to watch them practice and said, if you guys can show us some offense, you might have a shot. Also, I think they might have an outside shot at maybe the Copper Bowl.
Well, keep in mind, yeah, that Copper Bowl has an open spot because the Big 12 is not going to be able to fulfill their commitment of delivering a team there, since only 5 teams in the Big 12 will finish with winning records. So the Copper Bowl has an open spot, and the Independence Bowl has a spot that's open.
People talk about Steve Logan being a little bit different. You read about Logan, you got to love the guy. I mean, he listens to Mozart in his Jeep on the way home. He talks about the passing game the way Romeo talks about Juliet. I mean, with a tremendous passion for throwing the football.
Well, back up. You know, there are 2 things that just don't go together. You know, Mozart and a Jeep.
Hey, I tell you what, he plays the guitar at night to Eric Clapton and Stevie Ray Vaughan. So, hey, that can't be all bad.
All right, we can go with that.
2nd and 4 for East Carolina. And Harley will get the carry as the clock ticks away, under 3 minutes, now under 2.5 minutes.
Well, maybe about now, Harley ought to come out of the ball game and let Raymond Mabry get a chance to carry the ball. I mean, Harley's uniform is about as dirty as it can get. You know, you were talking about that earlier. He's got holes in his uniform and everything in the backside. Well, now maybe he can come on off. He's got Band-Aids on his arm. Look at this. Here's your football player. He's got holes and things and dirt on his uniform. Maybe
See, years ago, a tough guy would never have put a Band-Aid, but now the NCAA requires you to put a Band-Aid because of the blood rule.
Yeah, well, next year the NCAA is going to require him to tuck his shirt in. There's a new rule that's coming that will force players to make sure that they are neat, like the NFL.
I guess neatness counts.
For something. I don't know if it counts on a football field.
Speaking of next year, East Carolina will open their 1997 season with Wake Forest, and that's sort of an anniversary. When they opened Ficklin Stadium in 1963, they played Wake Forest in the opener, and Brian Piccolo played in that game for the Demon Deacons. And this year they will expand Dowdy Ficklin Stadium, and when they open it up next fall in September, they will seat over 44,000 people in Greenville, and they'll pack the seats.
Yeah, and appropriate that they'll play Wake Forest for that game. With the win tonight, East Carolina will have won 14 of their last 17 games. That's a pretty fair job of coaching, wouldn't you say?
I tell you what, you know, a lot of those coaches down there said, you know, it's nice that Steve Logan's name gets mentioned, but my goodness, they hate to see him leave if he were to go somewhere. I don't know that he would leave.
Yeah, he may not. He may not.
3rd and inches for East Carolina. And Gonzalez says, I think I'll run one.
You know, getting it back to the bowl situation again, one comment that Steve Logan made yesterday that really stood out. He said, look, you know, this is life. We understand. We accept it. If we're home, we're home. But you know something? We'll be like the rest of the country. We're going to watch a lot of 6 and 5 powerhouses play in the bowl game while we're sitting at home at 8 and 3.
You know, and he said, hey, how about if you're Jeff Bauer at Southern Mississippi? They beat us at home.
Yeah.
They beat us in Greenville on ESPN. And they're 8 and 3, and their only losses are to Alabama and Florida State, and they lost to Houston, and they're probably going to sit home.
Yeah, well, his point about the bowl situation is that, you know, it ought to be open to really the best teams. All the tie-ins now with the conferences where you have the 3rd, 4th, 5th team in a conference going to a bowl game freezes out teams like Southern Mississippi and East Carolina.
Yeah, Steve said, what a novel idea. How about letting us win our way into a bowl?
Yeah, something about merit, huh?
Yeah. He said, I give the athletic directors and the commissioners credit for making all those deals with the bowls. He said, well, my goodness, we certainly would like to go. Less than 2 minutes here at Ericsson Stadium. And Scott Harley, they're going to carry it to the bus, I think, with Harley.
Yeah.
Now coming up next, how about some motorcycle racing? I think Harley probably could ride one of those. The Supercross World Championship from Japan. That's immediately following this game on ESPN2. How about that? 3 hours of watching a Harley in action, and now we're going to have some motorcycle racing.
Well, he might be there. He's not tired yet. He could ride one. You know, we heard last night when on the sideline, he was talking to his coordinator, Martin, about the ball game. Martin said, you know, you got to be tough, and if you're tough, you'll win that steak dinner. Because he already owed me one.
Doug Martin said, if you come out of the football game, you owe me dinner. And Harley said, hey, you're buying me dinner. I'm staying in all night long. And we're less than a minute to go, and Harley's still getting the football. So I'm going to back out and get a few more yards. 35, 40, and Marcel Huff rocks him out of bounds at about the 41-yard line.
Now, how he manages to have that kind of get up and go this late in the ball game after carrying the ball as much as he had, I don't know. I mean, this guy is tough, and he's had to do it because that man, Marcus Crandall, has not been able to play for a while because of that bad knee, and I'm sure Crandall wants to get in the ball game because of this.
And here he comes. In case they don't go to a bowl game, they're going to put the fifth-year senior, and listen to this crowd. Boy, you got to love Steve Logan. This is the young man that got him here. Has not been in the game since the Arkansas State game back on November 2nd, and he will get the final snaps for the Pirates. And he'll get a delay a game call.
What a thoughtful gesture by Steve Logan to make sure that the senior doesn't have his last ball game be the game in which he was hurt. He gets a chance to step on the field in this rivalry and end his college career, assuming his team doesn't get to a bowl game.
And I got to believe you're going to see Marcus Crandall play on Sunday somewhere. He's a Jeff Blake kind of quarterback, maybe a step faster, has just as strong an arm, and has an incredibly quick release.
I think he could be his agent.
Hey, I'll take it.
Yep, he'll be there.
And he will hand it off to Harley. You see how gingerly Marcus just was able sort of to trot back there.
Yeah, I'm certain that what he was told was go out there, hand the ball off, don't run around, don't hurt yourself. And you see the affection and feeling his teammates have for him. Harley had the big night, but they're all going over to that man, their leader, Marcus Crandall.
Well, that will be the final play of the football game. 10 seconds to go here at Ericsson Stadium. And the Pirates of East Carolina have waited nearly 5 years for this one. 31-point margin of victory for Steve Logan as his Pirates go to 8-3, and Mike O'Kane knows that next year he will have 27 seniors back. We'll wrap it up when we come back to Ericsson Stadium as East Carolina has won it 50-29. Back in a moment. A record crowd and a record-setting night here at Ericsson Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina. That young man was incredible.
Scott Harley, 42 carries, 351 yards, 3 touchdowns. He did it a variety of ways. He did it from way far out and then did it up close when he had to.
Stay tuned for the Supercross World Championship of Motorcycle Racing coming up next right here on ESPN2. For Rodney Gilmore and our entire crew here in Charlotte, I'm Jerry Punch. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Again, our final from Ericsson Stadium, East Carolina 50, NC State 29. So long, everyone.